Nerdrotic.com.
Welcome back to the Nerdrotic Nooner. My name is Gary Beekler, and I come to you from San Francisco, California. Currently in lockdown day whatever. Lost count a long time ago. Taking it one day at a time. Hope everyone is well. And a few programming notes. First, of course, don't panic. And greetings, everyone. I just want to let everyone know that the Super Chat Square Up from Friday Night Tights has been recorded and it will be on Nerdrotic Live Tuesday morning. I was supposed to do it Sunday and I got sidetracked with some work, but that has been taken care of and you will see that. I've been working on that this morning. I'm in the middle of working on a couple of videos, but I decided it was time for the Nerdrotic Nooner. Had to take a break and let's see who's here. Internet gas strikes again. Yes, and we have some terrible news. The New Warriors has been delayed another week. How will the comic shop survive? How? I want to know. So, Hugh Kelly is here. Andrew Bomir. Moons of Madness. Scoundrel Piled. Captain Chaos. Who knew? Mike Jackson. The Mirasphere Origins. Stuff and Other Things. David Osborne. Mike Stanbridge. And Selma Brinks. Aiden McGurr, what's up? Gary Tilbrook, that's a great last name. Frack Off Feldergarb. Zero Depressive. Professor Thaskalos, and what's up? And yes, we're going to talk about some Doctor Who because they decided to kick the hornet's nest this last weekend and screw up a good thing. The BBC could screw up a good lay, and that's exactly what they did. We still have Lord of the Rings. We do Draconides the Vigilant for now, but that could get screwed up at any moment. Tim F., what's up? That's a long timer right there, Tim F. Mike Jackson, Corey B., and Audie Rex. And Hologram Nunchuck, what's up? Greetings, everyone. All right. So we've got a couple things to go over today. I can't do a 4-hour live stream, but we definitely need to talk about the ever-changing story with female Star Wars, which I'm sticking with that one. Sorry, folks. And it looks like Disney is burying the story. Clownfish TV has been on top of this from the get-go. Midnight's Edge did a great video on it as well. We talked about it last night on the Inquisition, which was ghosted, so I don't know if a lot of you saw it or not. About an hour in, YouTube decided to ghost it, and the drill remains the same. If this live stream gets ghosted, I will restart it, and I will keep an eye on it. I've got it right over here. Let's take a look. Still there. That's good. That's good. So, yeah, I've been recording since 7 a.m., and I did the Super Chat Square Up. I'm working on a Doctor Who video, which is... I was going to try to get it out today, but it requires a little more research. I found another podcast from Radio Times talking about how canon doesn't matter. And that spin is still out there. And Paul Cornell just shat all over a large portion of the fandom. I mean, not only by blocking them, but if you watch the two epilogues that they did prior to the rewatch, I interpret both of them as a giant middle finger to the fandom. There's a lot of passive aggressiveness if you read between the lines on those, and it's not very subtle at all. So is it Emily Cook, right? Emily Cook, if I get that name wrong, sorry, from Doctor Who magazine. She has organized these rewatch parties of superior episodes of Doctor Who, the Tennant era. They started with the 50th anniversary. And then, of course, I don't know if the BBC had anything to do with this other than giving some people permission to write epilogues. And that requires Chris Chibnall's permission, but I don't think it was their idea, because if it was, they would have focused on the female doctor, the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we can lovingly call Dr. Karen. So I think it was just a genuine grassroots effort to kind of, heal the fandom, give people something to do during the lockdown. A good thing. No problem with it whatsoever. And I think it exposed the BBC, and I think it embarrassed the BBC, especially when BBC America tried to glom on and do a watch party, a Spy Hard, and it failed miserably. And this whole thing proves that there is still an audience out there hungry for good, fun, thrilling Doctor Who. Remember the show that was for everyone. And the BBC apparently is the last to get the memo that we are in the midst of a paradigm shift in entertainment to where it's going to need to get leaner and meaner. As I've said before, we're not going to be able to play these games. Corporate woke, corporate punk rock is dead. It died a couple, 3-4 weeks ago. And that is the trouble that comics are going to have right now. Movies are going to have right now. The BBC is just, they're going to die on that hill. They have decided to die on that hill. So these two prologues were both concerning the little girl in the mirror from probably, in my opinion, at least the best performed episode by David Tennant. It was my favorite episode, and I still love it. Doesn't matter that Paul Cornell was perfectly willing to go in and screw up his own canon and disgrace the franchise even further. And this is the final nail in the coffin. I didn't think they can do any more damage, but hold my beer, says the BBC. I don't know. You probably say hold my pint over there. And they decided to screw up and shame previous doctors. So if you haven't seen the episode, I highly recommend it. And well, it's a two-parter, and it's called Human Nature and Family of Blood, and the doctor has to disguise himself as a human being, changing his physiology where he has one heart, and he goes undercover, and Martha basically is his handler and has to watch over him, and she has a great story in this. And at the end, we have this great Doctor Who, it's not a speech, it's a voiceover montage of the fury of the Time Lord, and it's brilliant, and it defines David Tennant's era, and they decide to just piss all over it. It's terrible. So I will be making a video on this and mixing in that other podcast that I heard, and there are some other plans. I'm trying to work out a live stream with some others for later in the week where we can discuss this. Starry-Eyed Girl has been on top of this from the get-go. I have been a little sidetracked with the comic book stuff, but when I found out about this stuff, I can believe it, because look what they've sacrificed already. Just to support the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker. And they know it hasn't been a success. It's been a complete failure. The ratings have been trending down since she premiered, and that wow factor and that curiosity factor died down within a couple of episodes, and it's all been downhill since then. So they had to do something to cement her into Doctor Who lore. And if they couldn't, then we'll just, as they did in this epilogue here, smash it into a million pieces. And yes, her smashing that mirror and then smashing the pieces that were on the ground. That was Paul Cornell using the 13th Doctor, not played by Jodie Whittaker. She couldn't find the time to voice over this character, by the way. So they put so much effort. They put about as much effort as they did into The Timeless Child, if you do remember. They destroyed Doctor Who canon with a voiceover montage with actors who didn't utter a single line. So they even went lower budget on this one and did basically a motion comic. And Jodie couldn't find the time because she's busy. I don't know. What do you think? We're going to play a little bit of this. I'll take a risk. We'll take a risk. We'll see how much I can get away with. What's life without a little risk? So we'll take a look at that in a second. Also, we have female Star Wars news again. It looks like that the Bobs possibly are indeed pissed off about this, and there's some circumstantial evidence out there that this story is getting squashed. It's not getting talked about by anybody except for YouTubers now. And Disney, I guess, is just going to hope it goes away. And you can file that right under the Rian Johnson trilogy and the Dan and Dave trilogy and that Boba Fett movie where it'll just not happen, is my guess. And there was another interview where they talked to Leslie Headland and they asked her about Star Wars. And it is the best representation of Hollywood speak I've ever seen, where she doesn't say she has a favorite Star Wars movie. She just says she loves all Star Wars. And that is a hint to the interviewer that don't ask me any more questions about specific Star Wars things because I don't know anything. It was clear. Absolutely clear. Then we have the comic shops. It looks like Marvel has furloughed a bunch of employees and things are getting worse. We're seeing comic shops start GoFundMes, and it's not looking good. I had a conversation with a comic shop owner who I shall not name, and he has decided to shut down his store, and we will tell that story a little bit as well. But first, let's deal with Doctor Who. And unfortunately, we're going to have to go to Bleeding Cool to give us a little background on this. All right. Freaking horrible website. Look at this ridiculousness. I know I got to get ad block. Okay. So, Doctor Who writer Paul Cornell pens Human Nature Family of Blood coda. Doctor Who writer, air quotes, Paul Cornell, kicked off the global rewatch and live tweet of Human Nature and Family of Blood by penning and posting a new introduction to the two-part adventure entitled Shadow of Doubt that also brought Lisa Bowerman's Bernice Summerfield and Paul Cornell penned some novels, The New Virgin Adventures, and Bernice Summerfield was the Seventh Doctor's companion. From there, Cornell joined Doctor Who magazine writer and BBC radio producer Emily Cook, as well as director Charles Palmer and actor Lucy Cartwright, to offer viewers a behind-the-scenes perspective on how the episodes came to be, including some great looks at Cornell's pitch and script notes. But Cornell wasn't willing to just let the story end with the final credits, penning and posting a new epilogue, The Shadow in the Mirror, starring Cartwright and featuring an appearance from the 13th Doctor, though not Jodie Whittaker's voice, sorry. The story brings a sense of closure in a number of ways. I wouldn't say it was closure. That wouldn't be the word I would use. You can check out both of the new intro and coda for the two-parter for yourselves below. Now, the Bernice Summerfield one has something to do with the original story, because Human Nature was a New Virgin novel that they adapted for the series and obviously added to. And then there was the epilogue, The Shadow in the Mirror. Both shame previous Doctors, and both, again, in my interpretation, flip a giant bird to the fandom. Like a giant bird. So it's Snowflake in Safe Space. It's Terminator Dark Fate. It's all this crap all over again. And you just think, you wonder, when are they going to learn? When are they going to learn? Well, they're going to learn when it's too late. And it's already too late. I'm not going to be buying any more Doctor Who. And at this point, I mean, I'm angry about this one. Female Star Wars is funny. I just think that's hilarious. There's nothing that angers me about the situation at all. It's just typical, clown Lucasfilm at this point. And it shows what chaos that company's in. Announcing a show in the midst of the great lockdown. So what Doctor Who is doing is they are trying to show that, I've already heard the spin that the ratings weren't that bad, that it was YouTubers driving people away, which is ridiculous. It was a toxic portion of the fandom, the same old blah, 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 whatever. Completely denying the numbers, which end the argument right there. And the numbers won't go up. People aren't going to buy into this stuff. It's what's energizing the fandom as they are reminded that David Tennant was great. Of course, you're never going to equal that. And nobody was asking Doctor Who to equal that. But I think the embarrassment comes from the reaction that we've seen to this. Huge numbers of people watching this and tweeting. And it embarrassed the BBC because it shows that there's still the audience there. They aren't just buying what you're selling. And they're not going to. And then Paul Cornell doubles and triples down. And, let me pull up a couple of his tweets. Thanks to Starry Eyed Girl for sending me these too. I appreciate it. I'm going to try to do it without showing the personal messages and all that. And we will see. Because I am blocked like everybody else. And so when you're trying to... We have this big kumbaya moment. You're bringing everybody together. It's this moment of just what fandom is supposed to be. People coming together and enjoying Doctor Who that's not preachy and talking about their favorite episode. And Paul Cornell decides to shit on it and gatekeep, block people, keep fans from interacting with him. And he used the blockchain, obviously. I've never had an interaction with him on Twitter, but I have talked to him. I've talked to him on 2 separate occasions at San Diego Comic-Con. He was signing Titan comic books. There was nobody there. There was no line. So I walked up and we had a chat, about 20, 25-minute chat each time. They were good chats. He seemed all right. And I guess this is the little pickle that creatives are in right now. It's, do you want to keep your creative integrity or does that not matter to you at all? And you just want to be a lick spittle. You want to suck on the knob of the BBC. You want to be a shill and completely sell out. And Paul has made his choice. Now, it'd be one thing if he didn't block anybody. If he didn't block anybody and he interacted with class and respect, that's one thing. But it's blocking people and doing what he did and tweeting about it afterwards. If I can't show them to him, I'll just read them to you. But let me get to the messages here. Give me just a mo. And I'm breaking down both of these videos in detail on my video, which will be out tomorrow morning. I think we're going to have 2 coming out tomorrow. And I'm trying to buy time to find this. Where did it go? Sorry, folks. Give me just a second. What a dick. He basically told... there we go. Hang on just a second. I got it. This is in personal. Here we go. I'm going to just read it. I should have screen capped that first, but this is from Paul Cornell. The last thing I want to say is that the person who brought the first part of this trilogy, The Shadow Passes, to you was Chris Chibnall, who's responsible for all the official Doctor Who content designed to help people in lockdown. Round of applause for him. Hashtag Doctor of Mine. Now, we can hashtag RIP Doctor Who, hashtag no Doctor of Mine. That's fine, whatever you want to do. But that is the BBC trying to fully insert themselves in this, and Chris Chibnall riding the coattails of Emily Cook. I find that a bit deplorable, although she might be all for it. And then he continues, and he talks about canon. I think the idea that Doctor Who has a canon was already lying in bits at the side of the road, but I hope tonight will help to wash the concept gently into the gutter. Hashtag Doctor of Mine. So, who called this? Sorry, we all did. What was going to be their game plan after they completely trashed Doctor Who? It was going to be, well, we're going to call them a small portion of angry istophobes. That didn't work because the ratings went down. Then we're going to say they didn't understand Doctor Who. Well, that didn't work really at all. And they're going to bring in the brain of Morbius. Then, of course, their final card to play is canon doesn't matter in Doctor Who. It just doesn't matter. People haven't been watching a story unfold for 50 years. Tell that to a Spider-Man fan, especially one who read One More Day. It's apparent that canon has become a huge problem for the BBC and for CBS and for Star Wars because it goes directly against their agenda. And I know what John Campea says. There's no agenda anywhere, but there is. And they prioritize this and they say it. Paul Cornell says it right here in another tweet where he's responding to Gareth Roberts saying, remember kids, Cornell is here to save you from the racists. And Paul Cornell says, it was important for us to feature the racism, to show it. And in a few years' time, men like that will be running the country. It's important to show racism in Doctor Who. Why? Are there still a few outliers out there who don't believe it exists? Or do you think Doctor Who fans are racist? I'm not really sure how important it is. We get reminded of it every day. We're aware of it. And no, it's not going to go away. But Doctor Who is not going to solve anything. Doctor Who is not a media outlet. It is not a platform. It is entertainment. It is simply entertainment. It's not a news outlet. Sorry. It's not a news outlet. It is entertainment. And when it stops being that, people stop watching. So he's a tosser. I think I agree with Bullstrek. He's a complete tosser. Fucking jackass. So what they did in this episode, if you're familiar with it, is they focused on all the women, of course. And there's a girl that the Doctor trapped in a mirror at the end of this two-parter. These were alien beings who fed on Time Lord energy, and they were going after the Doctor, and they weren't going to stop until they hunted him down. They have very short lifespans, so they murdered some humans and took their form, including this little girl, right? And then, because they wanted to live forever. That's why they were going after the Time Lord. They were resentful that they have shorter lifespans. So they went down to 1914 England, where it's a boys' school, and there's a lot of World War I stuff in it. It's a great episode, and they actually deal with racism in a proper way in this episode. It's one of the best ways they've done it in the show. And yeah, so they murder a housemaid. They murder a little girl. Now, there's a family, of course. They completely ignore the father, the son, and the mother that the Doctor trapped in various states of eternity. And they go to the girl who was trapped in the mirror. And they make sure that the 13th Doctor comes. And again, the Doctor trapped them in a mirror to show that you don't F with the Doctor. And it was one of the best moments. And it's what you call a teachable moment. You know, the Doctor really does show a lot of mercy. And that's why he tries to defeat his enemies with his mind and, with forgiveness, and doesn't use violence or guns. And that's why it's always been a great show for everyone. But once in a while, the Doctor has to, kind of lay it down. And in this episode, he does that. And he traps the son as a scarecrow in a field. And he traps the mother in the event in a singularity where she's trapped there. It's been a while since I watched the episode. I should have watched it before I seen this. And he traps the little girl in a mirror. So we're going to go. I'm going to see if I can get away with playing a little bit of this. And you're probably going to hear it through. It's probably going to sound. You might hear a little echo. And that's fine. Here we go. Here, so you guys can see it better. And we'll have David there. And we're just going to play the end part. Let me make sure the audio is coming through. This might work. Sorry, folks. I just screwed that up. Hang on. It's going to be desktop 1. There we go. Hey, what's up?
Home. I did that I would be free to live and die as I should have in the first place. That she had made this decision for me. No getting even, no balancing the scales. There was only deciding against pain.
Sorry, let's go back a little further.
I will not bow to you. I will not say sorry, ever. She said she understood that. That in many ways it was her own fault that myself and my family killed so many people. That made me scream at her. What I did wasn't up to you. She told me what I already knew. That if she released me from the mirror, I'd have a life of days or weeks, my normal lifetime, starting again from the point where it had been suspended. I still want to get out, I said, but I will not say sorry.
And there is a previous epilogue to this where the little girl won't apologize, and that is the veiled FU to the fans, I believe. Maybe I'm reading too much into it, but I've watched it 4 times. And it's basically, we're not sorry for destroying canon at all. And you just got to get over it. And they have a little moment here. I can't show this completely. I got to show it in little pieces.
Family did what they needed to do, what they were born to do. If you let me out, I'll keep on killing lesser beings, and then you'll have that on your conscience too. She asked me if I knew what mercy was. I wouldn't reply.
And the Doctor brings up mercy and insinuates that the previous male doctors weren't really showing that. And she's moved past that. She's evolved. She knows better than them. Trying to get to where, yeah, there we go. Right there.
She smashed it time after time, smashed it into a million pieces. And then she held her hand out to me. The expression on her face was stern, not welcoming. She said something about this being an end to bad luck. I didn't take her hand, but I did step out of the mirror. She said there was nothing on this world. That's why she'd come to free me here. She took me to her TARDIS. She stayed looking determined as she operated the controls. She watched me in case I touched anything. I was shaking inside, trying to deal with my freedom, hoping against hope this wasn't some further twist on her revenge. But when the doors opened, there was my home. There were the spires and the great spiral troughs. There were my people, linking in the great chains, sunning themselves on the rocks in their natural form.
Yep.
She told me to get out. She told me I wouldn't have time to leave this place before the end of my natural life, that I would be free to live and die as I should have in the first place. That she had made this decision for me and for herself and for all her other selves.
And she had made that decision for all her other selves. Now, you might be asking, hey, why did this piss off a bunch of Doctor Who fans? Well, it's Jodie going back and undoing David Tennant canon. And we've seen this before. It's not unlike what happened in Star Wars, where you end up, quite frankly, the superior characters end up being stepping stones for the female character, which is disgraceful in its way, and it does no respect to the female character. And it's the same argument that Aaron Cummings had with John Campea over the female Star Wars. You disrespect all women by saying, oh, what you have to do is you have to weaken the men, or you have to shame the men to elevate your female characters. And Doctor Who has been a study in this. And you know what? People could have been won over with the female Doctor. We've said this time and time again. It just comes down to good storytelling, but they just didn't have that, or they didn't want to put the effort into that. So what you end up doing is making people resentful. And when you keep pointing out female-centric as opposed to male-centric, that turns people off automatically. And the only response to them now is their ists and phobes. It's like, no, we can tell what you're going to do. You're sending up a giant red flag that you're going to do what others have done. You're going to disrespect the characters that we have bought into and loved and supported for years and years and years, just to support a character that's going to be around a couple of years and then it'll be gone. Or a trend that's around for a couple of years and then it'll be gone. You're willing to sacrifice decades because they don't care. And if they did care, and if they put in a little more work and time into their stories, they could have won over a lot of fans with the female Doctor. There were a lot of fans who were willing to give her a chance. I can't tell you how many emails I've gotten from people who gave her a solid chance over 2 years and finally came over to our way of thinking and saying it's obvious now that they put no thought or effort into this. It was just, let's make it a female and we'll throw in some agenda here, and it's half-assed. It's a vanity cause. And they end up, the most dumbfounding thing is they're costing themselves millions of dollars, but they flat out don't care. And what I said last night, I mean, they don't like previous Doctor Who. It embarrasses them, just like old Monty Python embarrasses the BBC. They like the money, but the product embarrasses them, and they're willing to give that up for their egos because they think they are right. These are people who are just dug in. Like I said last night, it's a religion. The woke religion, which is over. It's corporate woke. Think about this. It's corporate woke. It's not just a bunch of kids at a college who, this is their first experience in life and they're very impressionable and their professors, just influence them, and they, all of a sudden they think they have it all figured out. We were all 20 at some point, of course. Thought we had it all figured out. That's harmless. This isn't. And now a lot of them are working in the BBC. A lot of people who are not qualified are working on shows. And people like Paul Cornell have to shit all over their own work to keep a job. I mean, that's not bending the knee. That's on both knees. Oh my God, have some pride, man, for fuck's sake. So it later, and to make it worse, I'm not going to show anymore. It talks about how they were a marginalized people. They were a marginalized people. And yeah, so the whole message is the Doctor wanted to virtue signal to herself. I can't remember who I got that from, but that was another YouTuber. And once I remember, I will give that person credit. Maybe it was Heels versus Babyface. I think it was Heels. I think it was Az. And the doctor wanted to virtue signal to herself and give herself a little pat in the back and shit all over all the previous doctors, David Tennant in particular, which kind of makes Doomcock's rumor, I mean, it's in the realm of being right. The rumor was that David Tennant was going to guest star in an episode. I think this was conflated with a comic book that was going to come out, and she was going to lecture him and all past doctors. Well, they essentially did that in this. So maybe Paul Cornell borrowed from that. And they felt so strongly about this, again, that Jodie Whittaker couldn't find the time to voice it. And they just focused on the girl. Where is the son who is in the cornfield, who is the scarecrow? I don't know if it was wheat or corn, it doesn't matter. He's still there. What if he hears about this? He's all, hey, doctor, what about my mercy? Well, you're a man. Nuh-uh. So the Bernice Summerfield one, because I didn't read the book, I didn't know what was going on, but basically the gist I get out of the story is Bernice Summerfield, the companion from the books, found that same mirror and found that girl, and it's similar to something that was maybe a character she interacted with in the book. And she shames the previous doctor as well. And they bring up the redheaded doctor, which was, put into the last couple episodes of Series 12. The cop, who is the 6,722nd doctor now. And canon's meaningless. By the way, I showed this last night. If it's so meaningless, doesn't it say, it might be backwards for you guys, but the first and second doctors encounter the dread Trods, then enter the dreaded Dalek. I think it says first and second doctor, right? Yeah, these are pretty cool, by the way. Oh, what does it say right there? 2 complete strip stories featuring the third Doctor, John Pertwee. So none of that matters. And I know what the excuses are. The excuses are they'll change it, or we can just ignore it and they'll move on, like the M&M Daleks, like the half-human Doctor, which they didn't forget, by the way. And, this is something that's been happening to, if you're a Marvel comic fan and you're not even into Doctor Who, all this is familiar to you. Oh yeah. Making Cap a Nazi. I don't know if it's a fact or not, but they're heavily insinuating that Wolverine might be bi. Sorry, I didn't mean to hit that. I'm trying to get to this. All right. So let's get to you guys a little bit. F. Paul Cornell, man. What a dick. And then flip the finger at the fans and do it behind a blocked Twitter account. That's a coward. He's a coward. I mean, take on your fans, explain your work, but he can't. He probably needs to eat right now. He won't be getting very much work. I doubt he'll be writing very many comics now. And I was a guy who talked to him. When I talked to him the 2 times, I spent a lot of money, $200 each time to have a signed book. I bought a sketch cover. I'm the kind of fan you want. The people in the chat are the kind of fans you want. You don't want to alienate us. Try to work with us. But we're beyond Olive Branch. We're plebs. We're absolute plebs. And they are the enlightened few. And it's too bad we're not as enlightened as the BBC. The BBC that's so disconnected with its own audience. And it looks like they're just going to fail. It looks like we have to move on to something else. And that's what's happening. That's why everything is down. That's why everything was weakened before this crap started. Believe me, all plans for the future are being scuttled or they're being changed. We will not be going back to that norm. We will not be going back to 2019. Corporate woke is dead. Corey B for $4.99. Jody pulls a Rose Tico and lets out the big bad trapped by Tennant's legitimate doctor. What next gets the reverse victimhood woke washing? Hashtag not my doctor. My guess is, I don't know, pick a fourth Doctor story. They haven't gone after Tom Baker yet. So once they do that, I mean, they're rewatching current Doctor Who. But that'll come. That'll come. There was some big news today that there's going to be some big crossover event with, the next thing they're screwing up is the Time Lord Victorious. Did you guys hear about that? Let me get to that real quick. That's next, folks. But that's later in the year. Oh my God, Bleeding Cool is the worst site. Is absolutely the worst site. But here's what's next. As if global rewatches, live tweeting, and original content being released. Do you guys accept any of this original content for real? Around their favorite episodes wasn't enough. Doctor Who fans were treated to the news on Monday that that BBC Studios will be producing a multi-platform story, Time Lord Victorious, later this year. The massive immersive experience will launch in September 2020 and run over a 12-week period, wrapping up in January 2021. With partners Penguin Random House, Doctor Who Magazine, Titan Comics, Escape Hunt, Big Finish Productions, Eagle Moss Hero Collector, Immersive Everywhere, Maze Theory, BBC Books, and BBC Audio contributing to the massive epic tale of the Time Lords. Set within the dark times at the start of the universe when even the Eternals were young, Time Lord Victorious follows several doctors across space and time as they defend their home planet from a terrible race. Billed as a story like no other, the project will feature the... Oh, wait a minute. How can it feature the 8th, 9th, and 10th Doctors, as well as companion Rose Tyler and monsters including the Dalek and the Ood? Who's the 8th Doctor? I am not aware of who these doctors are. It can't be our 8th, 9th, 10th Doctor. So I'm confused. I'm totally confused. Yeah, they're desperate, folks. The other thing I called was after they say we're a small, insignificant portion of fandom that are a bunch of istophobes, and after they say we don't understand what we're watching, and then after they say that canon doesn't matter, I want you to imagine my little video of people moving the goalposts. They're going to beg for people to come back and bring back David Tennant and John Barrowman, and that, my friends, is how they're going to bridge the gap from the delay that Series 13 is going to have, because I don't think we're going to see it for a couple of years. Everything's been pushed back, and there is no timeline to bring that stuff back right now. And that's a good thing, to be honest with you. I'm not going to argue with that. Oh, man. Too many windows. I'm going to have to knock down some of these windows. Especially Bleeding Cool. Ugh. I apologize you had to look at that. So thank you, Corey B, for the $4.99. Phantom Mercenary for $5. Did George Lucas foresee the future of Disney Star Wars? And did he sell to Disney as revenge against the fans for hating the prequels? For $5. Thank you for the $5. Yeah. Yes. It's starting to look that way. No, I don't know if it was revenge. I genuinely thought George was hurt and he thought he was doing the right thing. And then he probably started learning very early on that it wasn't the right thing. And we got what we got. But was it an emotional decision for George to sell Star Wars to Disney? Absolutely. It's the worst kind of business decision you can make, is an emotional decision. And he was hurt, and like I criticized the prequels. I was more critical of Indiana Jones, to be honest with you. The prequels were bad, but they were still Star Wars. I didn't think they weren't Star Wars. I don't roundly reject them. They have their, the music is great. There's some great characters. It was just poorly executed, but it's most definitely Star Wars. Disney Star Wars is not. It ended with Return of the Jedi for me, but I can't even go back and enjoy the old stuff anymore. It's completely ruined. Huron the Steadfast donates $10, 10 Canadian dollars. Hail, Canada. And I was just kidding last night when I said Paul Cornell is going to have to move to Canada and move out of the UK. I wouldn't subject Canada to Paul Cornell. I'm thinking North Korea might be the best place for him. 73 Optimus Prime for $9.99. Another week with the debut of the new Warriors. Such a tragedy. Not. Yes, the new Warriors has been delayed till May 9th. May 9th. And it will be delayed again because Marvel doesn't give a crap. And the comic shops are pressuring, well, they are not pressuring Marvel, but other companies to not come out with any digital first during this time. It looks like Diamond might be ramping stuff up, but now they have competition. That's going to be interesting. Sporking News Podcast for $2 says he wants to be the 351st doctor. You're a doctor, and you're a doctor, and you're a doctor, and I'm a doctor. Yeah, this shirt's meaningless. It's the kindergarten logic of the BBC, and that's how they see us. That's how they see us. I have a video coming out. I don't know if anybody's going to be interested, but I'm coming out with it anyway because I make videos what interests me. And I did run a poll today on my Patreon because I'm going to do a Star Wars video and a Doctor Who video, and overwhelmingly the Doctor Who video won. That's the one that's going to come out first. Videos take me forever. So, I've given up being timely a long time ago with that stuff. Salsa Shark and Sporking News Podcast. Hail, brother. Hail. Sporking News Podcast does a Song of Ice and Fire a book club on his channel. Go check it out. Salsa Shark 01 for $5. Friday Night Tights is my favorite content on YouTube. Whoa. Thank you. I appreciate that. That is, it does my heart good. We've all worked really hard to get that show going, and quite frankly, Geeks and Gamers and Odin was instrumental in bringing it up to the next level. And then now, of course, Az is on permanently. So hell yeah. And we had a great just 4-week run. All of our guests are great, but we've had Quarter Black Garrett from the Crowder Show. We've had the great John F. Trent from Bounding into Comics. We had Ethan Van Sciver, which was an excellent show. Go check it out. Then we had Critical Drinker. We had Mahler. It's been a ton of fun, and I'm reaching out to other people to bring in some. I'm going to bring in big YouTubers and up and coming YouTubers. It doesn't matter how big your channel is. It's going to be fun. So thanks. Keep up the great work. Hope to shake your hand when we visit the comic shop winner in Arizona. Hell yeah. Oh, you're going to come to Arizona? Yeah. I'm going to go to Gotham City Comics, who won the $1,000 from the last comic shop help. Congratulations. And he said he's going to air the live streams in his shop, and that fires me up. That is awesome. Didn't ask him to do that. And I want to, say this disclaimer that if any comic book shop accepts $1,000 from me, it does not mean they sign off on everything or anything I say. So please don't relate anything I say that might be deemed controversial to the comic shops. They are innocent parties in this. Few high for £5. Hey, hi, Gary. I hope sometime you can spread the word on the TLU 2 woke leaks. Please all vote with your wallets. What's the woke leaks? What's the TLOOU2? I should probably know that. Does anybody know what this is? I'm going to put it in the chat. Tell me what this abbreviation is so I know what I'm talking about. Please. Does anybody know what that is? Sorry. I will, few high. I will get back to that. Christian Delorme for $5 Canadian. Nice hair, do Gary. Why, thank you. In your opinion, which season from True Detective is the best? One, without a doubt. True Detective season 1 is a beautiful series of television. It's perfect. Season 3 was better than season 2, but season 1 was the best. Oh, The Last of Us. Thank you. I don't game, but I saw what I think Critical Drinker posted on Twitter. Oh my God. I mean, what are we surprised anymore? But you see, they've moved on from one group to another. Like Hollywood can't focus on one group. So they're moving on from one group to another, and they're trying to systematically get into everything popular. You don't see them doing this with original work. It's always with the most popular thing. They have to glom on, ride the coattails, and destroy it. And apparently The Last of Us is, well, my son has heard of it and played it. I know I probably shouldn't have, but he did. And it's an immensely popular game, so of course they're going to glom onto it. I'm sorry, by the way. I'm truly sorry. Yes, it is very Christian. It's good to be married to a hairdresser. It helps. Just wanted to say, hail, happy to be here. I'm happy you're here too, Lars Leonard, for 20 Danish krona. Thank you very much. What? Thank you. Draconides the Vigilant. Am I saying that right? Draconides the Vigilant for $2. Haircut looking damn good, Gary. Well, that is Mrs. Nerdrotic. She is a hairdresser. She is a hairdresser. And I needed one. I was looking homeless. The bad thing is I'm recording this Picard review, and you're going to see my hair like it starts out short, then it gets long, and then it's going to look bad. Scottish Nerd for £5. Hail, Gary. Painted my garden shed yesterday. Watched it dry. More entertaining than any of this garbage. Canon does matter. Canon matters. And I will refer to Doomcock's Laws of Canon. Go watch that video. I agree with it completely. And he does have an update for when creators go back and screw up their own work. Because when you take on something like Doctor Who or Star Trek, there is a certain portion of it that doesn't technically belong to the fandom, but they have to be kept in mind like it does. All right. So technically, no, the fandom doesn't own it, but it existed for decades because of this investment. That investment has to be respected. And good creators with dignity, creators with class, creators with integrity, keep that in mind. If they take on a project and they've never been a fan of this thing, they learn about the project. And, that is still, I would like to hope, the majority of the vast majority of the talented creators. So when Peter Jackson said, I don't want to put any of my messages into Lord of the Rings, I want to put Tolkien's messages in. That is Peter Jackson being a genius and being respectful, and that's what should be done when you're taking on a property that you did not start. Now, by all means, do different things, and anything can be changed if it's done well. I don't think anyone can argue that Doctor Who has been done well for the last 2 years. I don't think anybody can argue that Marvel Comics have been done well over the last 3 or 4 years. Poorly executed, but I would say it's absolute garbage fire trash. But poorly executed is one of them too. What do you think will be the next aspect of Doctor Who to be destroyed? I think the next aspect they will go after, they're going to start going into the past, and they've already talked about putting Sacha Dhawan into a second Doctor episode. And I think they will do a lot more of that. I think the worst thing they're going to do, though, is they're going to start editing old episodes of Doctor Who. Any moment that could be interpreted as sexist. There's a couple of little scenes in a couple of Third Doctor episodes where I could see them editing it out. The Talons of Wang Chang. I mean, they practically did an apology con for that. And I think that's an episode that'll eventually disappear completely. And as Bear Business 1 for $10 as far as Star Trek is concerned. He asked about Star Trek too. The next aspect of Star Trek, if they are allowed to keep it, which I don't think they are, Kirk. They're going to go after Kirk. As a matter of fact, I wouldn't be surprised if he gets mentioned in season 3 at some point. Saldrin TJ for $10 says, hail to you. Thank you very much. So CBS and Viacom are having a hard time right now. The CBS stocks was at $60 prior to the merger with Viacom. And when they merged, the stock went down to, I believe, $30. It's at $15 a share right now. They're desperate. They're furloughing workers. They're laying off workers. And they're going to have to sell some stuff off because they took on some massive debt with Viacom, just like AT&T did, and just like Disney did with Fox. So that's what's going to change everything. I would love to say it was all us and, us voicing our opinion, but no, it's going to come down to cash. Canon matters. Every religious group and society built around a story can attest to this fact. Society crumbles without a narrative canon. Sonic Spaz for $5. You are 1000% correct. And here is the biggest problem woke Hollywood and the woke BBC had with the canon that they have been producing in all of their productions over the last 3 or 4 years. Because there is a narrative built into every single thing produced by CBS, by the BBC. It's subtle, it's there, and is it a conspiratorial narrative? Well, with the BBC, yes. With American companies, no, it's like-mindedness. So they were absolutely sure that there was going to be a female president. I don't get political here, but they were just absolutely sure there was going to be a female president, like a lot of people were. And they put a lot of things into production, and then it didn't happen, and it went against their overall narrative, and they lost their freaking mind. So much so, they started rewriting shows, and I gave the example last night of Westworld. Westworld was on a trajectory. It was produced long before the election. Then season 2 got delayed. And they rewrote all the scripts. And if you go and look at the timeline of when this was announced, it was announced in December 2016. Not a coincidence that they decided to rewrite all their scripts after the election. That is the overall narrative. And again, I don't think it's conspiratorial in America. I think it's purely corporate driven. I think they read the tea leaves wrong. Because Hollywood, again, is where trends go to die. They don't make trends. They are the end users. And they're not even, they used to be the pinnacle. They used to be like movies used to be the top, and they're not anymore. And they're struggling with that. The era of the celebrity is dead. There's more loathing of celebrities than loving of celebrities. A lot more. I think people get a lot more enjoyment making fun of them, clowning them on their award shows now. I mean, Natalie Portman writing in the names of all those directors and then not hiring them. I mean, these people are clowns. They're absolute clowns. Somebody pointed out to me on Friday Night Tights. Oh God, who was the guy who did that horrible James Bond theme? Was it Sam? Is it Sam Smith? Yeah, Sam Smith. Okay, sorry, not into the pop music. And he gets emotional. When he's in quarantine. Everybody, I want you to say a prayer for Sam Smith because he's hurting right now. He is hurting right now. Yep, Sam Smith shares emotional snaps as they go through several stages of quarantine meltdown while in self-isolation in their 12 million pound mansion during the thing that shall not be named. Oh my God. Oh, poor Sam. He's in his little pajamas. And is there more? I don't think I... Oh. Pray for Sam. Pray for Sam. I mean, celebrities must be going effing crazy, and I love it. They have to stay home with all those pets they bought that they don't, that they ignore, all their children that they ignore. They had to send their nannies home and actually raise their own kids. They can't go travel the worst part about it is celebrities cannot get on a plane, their private jet, and go fly to the Arab Emirates and lecture us about the environment. I mean, it's a sad thing. It's a sad thing. I really feel bad for the celebrities. And yeah, I did see that comedian on Twitter, the thank you celebrities thing. That was pretty funny. Let's see if I can find that. It's pretty funny. Greta Lee Jackson. It went viral, so yeah, of course I'm behind on it. What the hell? Let's play it. Boom, 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 boom.
Jackson, and I'm not a celebrity, but these people are. And during this time of crisis, they have provided the strength that we've all needed to get through. So it's time for us normal people to say thank you.
I see a number of deaths every day, and the constant threat of being infected and taking that home to my family is terrifying. But the one thing that gives me strength to get to my job every day is watching Ellen broadcast from her mansion.
This is like being in jail, is what it is.
I've been waiting on hold for Centrelink for days now. I've lost my job, I've got no money, I've lost everything. But this video of Amanda Keller dancing around in her massive kitchen is really getting me through.
I have been working for 48 hours straight and my face hurts from wearing a mask for so long. I was going to go lick a patient to end it all, but Manu from MasterChef reminded me why I'm here.
I just had to break up a fight in aisle 3, and every day people call me a f***ing c***. But having Sam Armitage reassure me from her sprawling rural property really makes it all worthwhile.
We're all in this together. My landlord refused to, give me a decrease in rent, so I'm out on the street. But this bloke on the beach, man, he makes me feel better. I don't know who he is, but if I knew him, my life would be beautiful.
My mum died, but look, it's Al from Home and Away.
We really are all in this together.
Thanks, celebrities.
Thank you, celebrities.
Thanks, celebrities.
Thanks, celebrities.
Get back to work, you
Thanks, celebrities.
From the bottom of our pathetic little nobody, unfamous, worthless, dogshit, broke-ass hearts. Thank you. You are the true heroes.
I like it when she said, I'm going to lick a patient to end it all. I didn't catch that the first time. That's terrible. Sorry. Oh my God. Celebrities are stupid and fun. Honestly, we have to be thankful that we get female Star Wars and Snowflake and Snow Save Space just to give us a little perspective. It's been glorious, to be honest with you. And I can't wait to hear what's next. I mean, we got Gotham High, again, female Star Wars, Snowflake and Safe Space, and Children of the Atom, and Gay Wolverine. What's next? Could happen any minute now. And I'm fired up. I'm excited. I don't know about you. Han Solo had sex with Chewie. I guess we can all assume that at some point, right? I mean, there's some backstory, and that's how he learned the language. So he can tell him he loved him or something. I don't know. But that was funny. Now, I know some of you saw Joe Rogan, right? Did you see the Joe Rogan episode with Kurt Metzger, the comedian God, I can't talk now. Kurt Metzger. Well, it was great. And they brought up Snowflake and Safe Space. I'm sure most of you have seen it. I'm probably the last one to see it. And he talks about your boy Zach, and he goes into how woke culture is over. And if you're hearing it discussed on Joe Rogan, that's the Dave Chappelle effect. That's the thing I was talking about last year. Now, again, I didn't think it would be ending this fast. I still thought we have to go through a couple of years of it. It's over. And it's refreshing to hear it from comedians. And again, it's refreshing to hear it from people on both sides of the aisle, which is pretty much the majority of people we have around here and in our sphere on other channels. So it's working, folks. And we just got to continue to mockery is the best way to get a celebrity to change anything, because that's the one thing that trumps money is their ego. Mac Way for £5. Just want to say thanks for all your great content. Thank you. It's okay. I don't know. Great. Thanks for saying it's great. You're being very kind. I'm really enjoying the live chats at this time, especially with Doomcock. I love live streaming with Doomcock. It sucks that last night's Inquisition got ghosted. So when he posts it on the Harvey Zone, I'll let you all know. I thought it was a pretty damn good show last night. The live streams have been fun. I enjoy these the most. I like talking to you guys. Recording a video is fun, but I'm by myself. I'm isolated in this room. And that's what I was doing before this stuff happened. So I'm grateful to have this as a gig. I don't know if I'll call it a job. I think it's a gig. I think it's a gig economy. And with the wife with her salon closed right now, and don't get me started on that. The reason I got so sidetracked this weekend is because I watched something from the news. And this is why I don't watch the news. I watched a thing happen on the news, and it pissed me off. And I can't talk about it here. It sucks. I can't talk about it here. But yeah, that's why it's important to have our canon, to have our escapism for moments like this. And that's why we're having to go and watch old episodes of Doctor Who. And look at how dumb Star Trek is. Star Trek, CBS, you're stupid. I'm going to give you an idea right now. Do what Emily Cook is doing. Start Star Trek watch parties. And if you've started them, nobody's heard about it. Start Star Trek watch parties. But you know why they won't? You know why Kurtzman will not sign off on it? Because it'll remind everyone how shitty Star Trek Picard is. And that's what's happening with Doctor Who. So we're having to go back and watch old episodes of stuff. And the best example of a show that just got pulverized at the end, and there's still a big corporation out there that doesn't think there isn't permanent damage, is Game of Thrones. They're still full steam ahead on this prequel, but they ended up canceling 5 other ones because of the disaster that was Game of Thrones Season 8. And remember, you guys all remember, that at first, even after the final episode, there was people out there spinning it, saying, it wasn't that bad. The majority of the people liked it. You don't know what you're talking about. It had 18 million people watching. And then they canceled 5 prequels. So there's what you hear in the media, and then so many people taking creatives and people who work on these projects at face value. Paul Cornell, of course he's going to, again, be a lick, spittle, and kiss ass because he works for the BBC. That's pretty much his only job right now. And Jonathan Frakes coming out and attacking fans after Shaban attacked fans. It's because he works for them. He's contractually obligated to kiss their ass and not say anything bad. So that's why it is important when we do occasionally hear from a Mark Hamill, who I'm not very fond of these days, but when he spouts off, or when Russell T. Davies spouts off and clowns Doctor Who, which he did. I did a live stream on it a couple weeks ago. So we need to focus on that. I know a lot of people are upset, But not, Russell T. Davies isn't bending the knee. He's taking part in it because he's a good guy. And I'd love to have him back, but I wouldn't want him back under the current regime, and he doesn't want to come back under the current regime. So that tells you Russell T. Davies doesn't want to return to the woke BBC. That should say it all right there. All right. Sonic Spaz for $5. Thank you. I already read this one. Thank you very much, Sonic Spaz. Eric Hawk for $5. People need to get out of their heads intersectionally is just going to go away. Learn what woke is. Do research. People need to get it out of their heads. Okay, sorry. Eric Hawk says people need to get out of their head that intersectionality is just going to go away. Learn what woke is. Do research. Intersectionality is going to go away because it's not selling anymore. Now, is it going to go away within governments? No. Within political parties? No, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about pop culture. Will it always be there in some aspect? Sure, absolutely. And I think a lot of people just, because it's a lot easier to say woke than intersectionality all the time. I think woke just paints, I think people get the gist. Intersectionality isn't going to work very well with a video either. But you're right. You got to do research, and you got to find out that this has been going on for quite some time, and it's not going to be an easy fight. And that's why we have the fight here in pop culture. George Forrest Jr., and thank you for the $5. And you're not wrong. You got to do your research, and you got to find out what's going on. And believe me, I've done plenty, and I still learn stuff every day. Every day. It's not what I intended on doing when I started this channel. Believe me. I think Karen Kennedy is bit off more than she could handle with the press release. George Forrest Jr. for $4.99. I believe so. I believe now that I've watched the Midnight's Edge video and I've watched Clownfish TV, got caught up on it, read Bounding into Comics. It certainly looks like she signed off on it. I don't see how that benefits Leslie Headland by going around both Kathleen Kennedy and Bob Iger's back. I don't think you get a show made that way. So Kathleen Kennedy had to sign off on this. And as far as her going rogue, I think she's always been kind of rogue. Rogue from George Lucas, rogue from Bob Iger. Think about it. Kathleen Kennedy probably thinks that she is responsible for a lot of those Spielberg films because she brought some people some coffee. She made some phone calls. She brought in some rich investors. That was her thing. So she was probably a good schmoozer, probably really good at bringing people together. She said she wasn't a very good secretary. That's her own words. But yeah, they bit off more than they could chew with this one. So I can certainly believe there were meetings. Now, I don't think there were face-to-face meetings. I don't think there's any face-to-face meetings happening, but I think there's a lot of Zoom going on, Google Hangouts, maybe on their own forums, or like Midnight's Edge said. Captain Spire for $5. You get that email. You get the email live stream Doctor Who debate. I did. I'm going to watch that. That's going to be part of the video, Captain Spire. What I'm shocked is no one understands we're having this debate because of the Jodie Doctor and the writers. Yes. No. They want to believe that we're all ists and phobes. And that's the hard time they're having right now, is they have now come to terms that, yeah, there's a little agenda there. They might not agree with how much, but a lot of people are starting to see it, and they realize that it's objectively bad, but they cannot agree with people they have called ists and phobes, because that would be admitting they were wrong. And the reason the numbers grow with RIP Doctor Who and the Fandom Menace and just people here on YouTube is because people are smart. They're sussing it out. We're not the thumb-sucking a-holes that the BBC thinks we are. So that's the one thing that I thought British television used to do so well. They used to treat the audience like they actually had a brain in their head. That it was much more intelligent than American television. And that's why I appreciated it. You know what? Yeah, I had to go to a thesaurus sometimes, and not that my vocabulary is great, but it improved because I listened to Monty Python and I read Douglas Adams. And American television is lowest common denominator. And now the BBC is doing the same. American television used to be that. Now, things were going good for a while. Like I said last night, up to 2015, we were getting some damn good television. It looked like we were heading into this new era. And that's why I focused the channel. I'm like, I'm going to cover television. It's more interesting to me than movies are, other than the MCU. And that went to shit. The Price is Right review for $5. Kapla, my man. Did I hear right? Orcs are black people according to SJWs. I'm literally dumbfounded from that. Truly shows who the real racists are. It does. It does. I have never made that correlation. Have you? Orcs from, and I know they're talking about World of Warcraft, right? Or Dungeons and Dragons. Is that what I saw there? But that's all based on Lord of the Rings. And it's not, unfortunately, that's not the first time I've heard that argument. And that is not the case. I wouldn't, to say that out loud, God damn, that is just unbelievably cringe, horrible, disrespectful. And there's a lot more words I can attest to that. And it's sad. But they're going to run with it. I mean, again, there's still work to do. But that means, that means they're coming for Lord of the Rings, folks. I've said that all along. They're coming for Lord of the Rings. And they're going to have another fight on their hands with that one. Fat Zombie for £5. R.I.P. Doctor Who still stings. It does. Keep up the good fight. It does. And I would like to say I'm proud of Starry-Eyed Girl and Bulls Trek and Noel and everybody out there with R.I.P. Doctor Who, with Ian. Keeping up the good fight. Again, I got sidetracked with, I had to focus on the comic book stuff, and I could only do one thing at a time. I wish I had more time, but I got a video in the works. And again, they kicked the hornet's nest with this one. Things were not getting better. They were never going to be better, but people were distracted with the rewatch parties. They were having a good time. We're like, you know what? Let's take a break. Doctor Who just fell apart, and it saddens me beyond belief. I'm going to go enjoy a Tenet episode and take a break from it for a minute. Doesn't mean it died. As far as I'll check right now. I am pretty sure if you put in R.I.P. Doctor Who, it auto-completes. Yep, it auto-completes still. That means it's still around. So well done, everybody. Well frickin' done. Exia Valens for $10. Hey, Gary, my conspiracy senses are tingling. Are the governor/mayors in Cali working with the studios to prolong shutdown so these studios cancel crappy contracts they made using force majeure? The studios and the governor of this state are conspiring. I don't know if they're conspiring for that, because the force majeure clause is probably going to get rid of a lot of the stuff that's going to push their message with intersectionality and woke. But they are most definitely conspiring. I believe that certain studios are allowed to do some work right now that I wouldn't deem essential, but my wife isn't allowed to open her salon. And it depends on what you call essential. I would call her salon essential. For one, she is a trained hairdresser, and she has to have a license. So she's trained in health and safety. You have to have a license to do hair in this state. And it requires health and safety training. It also feeds our kids. So that's essential to me. Call me selfish. But yes, I've heard that there is some work going on certain things. I'm trying to confirm this story, though. So right now, you need to take it with a giant grain of salt. And I don't know what production it is, but I get emails every day that say different things. And one of them happened to say that, well, they're still working on some stuff right now. Really? How's that? You can't even take a walk on the beach right now. Even if you do practice social distancing, you get arrested. You get arrested. My hometown, Encinitas, California. Eric July shared the tweet. The great young Ripa, 59, shared the tweet. And that's the thing that pissed me off, was a guy getting arrested. It wasn't crowded or anything. There was barely anybody there. So, I mean, by all means, be responsible. For God's sakes, be responsible. Okay? That doesn't mean we're going to go like lick patients or anything like that. But there, got to be a happy medium, man. Oof. Casey Osowski for $10. Gary, I admit I didn't see the Doctor Who rewatch, but it really shocked me to think a writer would F with his own work for a few bucks. I hope he pukes on them. Casey, I don't know if he got a few bucks. I'm thinking he did that for free. I'm thinking he just wanted attention. He got a lot of love. But we all know that Twitter is not the real world. If Twitter was the real world, the Doctor Who ratings would have been good. And they weren't. And that ends their argument every time. You can spin, well, canon doesn't matter. Well, apparently it did. To millions of people. Let me do some maths here. 10.2 million people watched the first episode of Series 11. And just a little over 5 million people watched the last episode of Series 12. So that's 4.25 million people. It's almost half your audience gone in 2 seasons. And it just trickled down and then it fell off a cliff. And they lived off that first episode for the longest time, but they can't. They can't anymore, but man, they're going to dig their heels in. We're going to show you. I'd rather be right than successful any day. Matthew Gerwing for 10 Canadian dollars. Anyone thinking that this is just going to go away is delusional. Their ideology is utmost important to them. They have the power and they aren't going to give it up. No, the consumer needs to give up. As far as successful entertainment, we've already seen things failing. So, yeah, I guess it depends on your perspective. The corporate woke era is over. That doesn't mean they're going to stop. But the corporate woke era is over. People aren't buying into it. We already saw example after example after example prior to the beer bug. So, oh yeah, they're not going to give it up right away, Matthew. It's just not going to be very successful. And they're going to be forced to change. Now, is it going to be gone completely? It depends. I mean, some people want different things. I just want neutrality. But if they don't give it up, then they don't make money. So we'll see. We'll see. How many examples do they need? Mainstream media ratings are in the tank. Late night ratings, pretty much in the tank. TV show ratings are down 35% with Westworld, which, again, to prove Matthew right, they're going to give it a 4th season, but it's the last season. It's reduced episodes. So they get a new season, but it's still canceled. And they were supposed to get 5, by the way. And that's because Westworld went woke and they lost 35% of their audience. I don't think that's a coincidence. So they can keep doing it. That's fine. People aren't going to buy it. Does that mean Hollywood is going to become this neutral place that isn't going to be political? No, it doesn't. Does it mean that they won't have that cushion to alienate as many fans? Yeah. David Osborne for £5. If Hollywood does suffer, where do you see the future growth coming from? Independent channels, independent platforms. There might be a new independent movement, or it shifts to other forms, other mediums of entertainment. And that's already happening. Hollywood's still going to be in control listen, if the beer bug didn't happen, this will be going on for a few more years, but you would see the fight spill out within the entertainment. We have Chappelle speak out, and we have more comedians speaking out, and then Quite frankly, the celebrities act over the last month has made it worse as well. And people are just done with it. So Hollywood is going to suffer from this, but they're going to blame it all on the beer bug. And it was things that contributed to that prior to the beer bug. Same with comics. Comics is going to blame everything on the beer bug. No. That was just the straw that broke the camel's back. But I see more people going to YouTube. We're interacting more. We're live streaming more. Peppermint oil capsule for $2. Would you like my my P. Cornell books? I don't want them. I would, no, thank you. I don't think I want to read Paul Cornell books. I would donate them to, well, that means somebody else would read them. Recycle them. Do something for the environment and recycle your Paul Cornell book. Smooth Jam California for £5. Don't tell me they retcon the ending to Family of the Blood. For F's sake. I haven't bothered with the show for the last 3 years, but that really pisses me off. They did. They reworked the ending to a classic two-parter. The only memorable thing that Paul Cornell has done. And, he's done some work. He's done some decent work. He's never been my favorite. And quite frankly, it's David Tennant's performance in that. Scottish Nerd for £5. Lovely. Ace used to call Sylvester Professor. Always thought that every doctor until now was a teacher. Insert preferred phallic symbol here. Nice. Lubella for $2. Thank ye, good sir, for keeping me company at work. You are welcome, Lubella. Thank you for the $2. I appreciate it. King Koopa for $2 Canadian. Hey, good stream last night with Doomcock. Thanks, man. You're welcome. Thanks for being there. It was great. I had a good time. Jonathan Rees. Wait. Hang on a second. We got to go back up because it did that jump thing again. So we're going back up, folks. It jumped. It went nuts on me. Give me just a mo. Eric Hawk, George Forrest, Captain Spire. Japla 821 for $5. My local hobby shop still didn't get the money it needs from GoFundMe. I'm a little worried. Hobby shops are going to get screwed hard like comic stores. Why didn't they get their money? Did they have a little... yeah, GoFundMe, you have to go through a couple hurdles to get the money, but that sucks. I'm sorry to hear that. You got to dot your I's and cross your T's. As I said last night on the Inquisition, my Paul Cornell rot. It made Paul Cornell rot in fandom hell. Theta Sigma for $10. Thank you. And yes, I want him to rot in fandom obscurity. Absolute obscurity. He lost his nerd card, selling out on his own work. How pathetic is that? I mean, it's sad. It's just sad. Scottish Nerd. Jonathan Rees for £5. Don't let this trash ruin a good series for you. Rory's lockdown message or Elizabeth Sladen's recent tribute is the show we know and love. And you're right, Jonathan, you're right. You got to focus on the good. And there's been a lot of good with these rewatches. That's what angers me, though, because Paul Cornell just crapped on it. I was leaving that stuff alone. I was trying to catch them. The thing is, it's early Friday morning when they were doing some of these, and I'm either not awake or I'm working on Friday Night Tight, so I couldn't partake in the watch parties because they're on British time. And I saw some real good in it. I loved the Elizabeth Sladen thing, but no. It's one thing to insert the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who is now lovingly known as Dr. Karen. And it's another thing to crap on the 10th Doctor. John T. Levine for $4.99. Huh? Isn't 13 the same doc that imprisoned Tim Shaw for eternity and ill-guided act of mercy? What the actual F? Her morals are so inconsistent. I know. Yes, she was. Well played, John T. Well played. Absolutely. Good point. I'm actually going to put that in my video. I'm going to screen cap that. Hang on. Screen capping right now. There we go. Screen capped. Okay. Thank you, Jaunty. Chris O for $4.99. Tell Doomcock to press the button. Oh, wait. He kind of already has. I would tell him to press the button. Oh, yeah, maybe. You think Harvey is the beer bug? Well, he didn't say what form he was going to take. I don't think so, though. Because it's not the end of the world. This isn't Yellowstone blowing off. This isn't the sweet meteor of death coming down. This isn't the end of the world. It's serious. It should be taken serious, and I think we have. I think we've done our due diligence. I think we have a lot of data now, and I think it's time to make some decisions. Do your job, politicians. I know. I can hear you laughing right now. I know. I'm laughing inside, too. Give me a break. 200-watt studio for $2. Cornell pulled a Greedo. Shot first with his retcon. Yes, and then he shot at the fans, and then he shot himself in the foot, and then put that foot in his mouth. Freaking jackass. Thank you very much, 200-watt studio. Swinging Cod for $5. Not a shocker, it was Cornell. He was the one who replaced Brian Braddock with a female Muslim doctor as Captain Britain for woke points. Yep. Oh yeah. Captain Paul Cornell. Paul Cornell is SJW Marvel as it gets. Absolutely. But here's the thing. I don't care what his politics are. I was able a few years ago to have a conversation with the guy and talk to him, but he blocked me on Twitter. I have done nothing. I have not interacted with him. I haven't tweeted at him. I do not tweet at celebrities. I might occasionally tweet at my governor. That's a different story, but I try not to do it. I'll hashtag them, but I'll leave them alone. I don't tweet at Chris Chibnall or anybody else with their piss poor ratings. No, I speak my mind. I move on. And I don't care. I'm not butthurt that I'm blocked. I don't care. I don't block anybody. I don't block or mute anybody. Have at me. I don't care. I'll probably, hopefully it's something nice. And if it's not, well, it's not. Whatever. Who cares? But that shows what a coward he is. He's weak. He's insecure. And he will do anything to get along. He's one of those people he's a people pleaser. He's a people pleaser, but he wants to please people who are anything that's advantageous to him. So a narcissistic people pleaser. Hey, Gary, been watching Doctor Who from day one. Wow, John. John Zeller, by the way, for $10. And it kills me to see what they have done to it. It's truly sad and sickening. And it is. It absolutely is, John. And I was going through the grieving process again because I had gone through it earlier and I really didn't think they would do what they did. And this is this is pissing on the corpse. Sorry, but that's what it is. Fat Gandalf for $4.99. Gary, if the BBC wants to write injustice, why can't they give Paul McGann a full series? Exactly. It makes no sense that they focus on one doctor all the time. I would watch a special. Why can't you do Paul McGann specials? I don't want them done now, by the way. No. But 6 or 7 years ago, when you have a year break in between Doctor Who, you get another production crew and you make 4 Paul McGann specials. Or you do half-hour serials. You do one story, break it up in 4 parts that's 2 hours, and do half-hour shows. That'd be awesome. And you can get more merchandise. Paul McGann merchandise sells better than Jodie Whittaker merchandise. I guarantee it. If they produced the same amount, it wouldn't even be close. John Harrison for £5. Hello, Gary. So I watched the ending of season 6 of S.H.I.E.L.D. Coulson dies and becomes a life model decoy. So Picard just copies other shows, it seems. Other shows, other video games, themselves. Yeah. Oh, yeah. There's no originality with that show. Will Gentry for £5, saving their planet from a terrible race. So they're saving Gallifrey from the white man. Insert eye roll so bad you can see your brain here. Will Gentry for £5. Yes. I didn't know I could roll my eyes that much for 3 or 4 minute short. listen, the BBC is efficient. They have been destroying a decades-old franchise in minutes. 1 hour here, a few minutes here, total destruction. Keller Ranch for $10. These days, I think the doctor actually did die on Trenzalore in my mind canon, which sucks because I thought Peter could have also, oh my God. Oh, I love you, Mrs. Nerdrotic. I'm going to read that again, Keller. Excuse me for this brief Pete's interruption. Oh, it's so good when it hits your lips. Keller Ranch for $10. These days, I think the doctor actually did die on Trenzalore in my mind canon, which sucks because I thought Peter could have been so much more. Agreed, and he could have been so much more. It's not his fault. I mean, he buys into that politics, and he did utter some pretty cringy lines that I'm going to put in the next video. But he didn't write them, and I don't think he's happy with what they've done to Doctor Who. Now, maybe that's me projecting a little bit. I don't know. Winter Wind 89, $5. Hey, who knows? Maybe we'll get lucky. And the time between now and season 13, the BBC might get defunded. The show put on hiatus, canceled by default. That's the one good thing that can come out of this, folks. This isn't... Oh, why is my phone talking to me? I didn't say Google. Now, this isn't a good situation. But, you know, if you want to look at the glass half full, Star Trek Picard could get canceled. Star Trek Discovery could get canceled. Doctor Who could get radically changed or put off. Here's what they're facing right now. Declining ratings and a 2-year delay. I mean, it's dead. You can, listen, Looper and What Culture can make all the damn videos they want. They can spin it all they want. It's dead. So I'll be here in 2 years going, remember when I said it was dead? Remember when Winter Wind 89 said it was dead and he was done? And remember when Will Gentry said it and Steve T? Told you so. And maybe, just maybe that's why, you know, you got 1 million subscribers and you only get 50,000 views on a video. That was mean. I shouldn't say that. Dr. Crow for $2. I'm a doctor. Well, yeah, you're a doctor. It says it in your title. And so is James Fowler. And so is WTF Viewer. And Gail Simone's side, I'll say, nemesis, is a doctor as well. Yeah. Norwegian Kryptonian for 22 Norwegian krona. Did you enjoy the Gilmore Pompeii Blu-ray? Shine on. I haven't seen it yet. I have to see The Lost Room first. I have my order of things to do. So I saw some Bollywood stuff, which Bollywood is, it's different. It's different. I didn't say I hate it. I'm not saying I hate it. Somebody was kind enough to send me some Bollywood. So I'll watch that probably within the next month. Norwegian Kryptonian. I apologize. I thank you. I love Pink Floyd. I love David Gilmour. And I thankfully, before all this thing went down, I got a new receiver. So I have 7.1 sound and I can listen to it on 7.1. So thank you again. Somebody sent me the Avengers as well on Blu-ray. And I get, not the Marvel Avengers, the proper Avengers. Emma Peel. Eskimonofono for $1.99. Friday Night Tights makes my pants tight. LOL. Wow. Maybe that's our new tagline. Is that our new tagline, ladies and gentlemen? I think so. Friday Night Tights. It'll make your pants tight. Yeah. Oh, that's good. Sean Johnson for $5. Hey, Gary, finally caught a live stream. Thanks for keeping us sane with all the good content. Why, thank you. Sorry, I'm totally distracted because my dog got trapped in here. Come here. Come here. This is my little rat. Gomez. He's an old man. He's always kind of scruffy looking. And he always gets stuck in this room. So give me a second. Get out. All right. Thank you. Darth Atraxis. So I'll read that again, Sean. Sorry. Sean Johnson for $5. Hail, Gary. Finally caught a live stream. Thanks for helping us keep sane with all the good content. You are keeping me sane. So it is reciprocal. Thank you. Darth Atraxis for Canadian $5. Hey, boss. Any thoughts on the upcoming Wheel of Time series? It'll probably be woke. Everything else is. If it was produced last year, I don't know. Did it go into production? Or are they still in the writing phase? My hope is that it's great that the Robert Jordan fans get what they deserve for being huge fans for years and years and years. I've started the audiobook and it hasn't grabbed me yet, but I'm sure it will. I've tried to read it in the past, same as Dune, but you have my word. I will have them read by the time the show comes out. I started on Dune, by the way. I started on Dune. Somebody was kind enough to send me a novel, so I'm reading it, and I'm kind of going back and forth between audiobook. Destiny Captain for $1.99. Gary, are you, what the hell? Are you promising positive? Am I promising positive entertainment? I don't know about that. When I say the corporate woke culture is dead and it's over, it means the trend is over. Okay. So, and the trend actually ended last year. Hollywood just doesn't know it yet, but the trend is over. This being something you could sell a product with is over. And what you're seeing now is a tantrum. Snowflake and Safe Space is Marvel having a tantrum. For a while, they were able to hide behind some decent sales, and this was years ago, when they started their woke bullshit, because they had Jason Aaron on the female Thor, and people didn't see it coming. So it was something interesting and whatever, and they changed the gender of a character, but then they started doing it after character, after character, after character, after character, and then on top of that, it's not just the swapping of gender, of course, same with Doctor Who, it's the politics that go with it. They run hand in hand. You can change the gender of a character and people will buy into it. Starbuck was successful. Whether you liked it or not, you can't argue that it was successful. It was an alternate reality, so that made it much better. I still wish they would remake proper Battlestar Galactica. I think it would be great. I'd be a big fan of that. But it's the politics that go with it, and they wanted to be in denial about that. And, God, we go through this, speaking of wheel, we go through this wheel of excuses, It's like, you're an ist, you're a phobe. There's no politics there. You're seeing the boogeyman, and, there's always been politics there. So it goes from no politics to always politics to canon mattering, and then it doesn't matter. And, it's just hard to keep track with these idiots. But it doesn't mean Hollywood's going to wake up with this new centrist attitude, or they're going to start playing fair. No, they're not. You're going to have to cycle through. Now, there are people in Hollywood who currently work there who have reached out to me and told me things are changing. It's going to take a while, but things are changing. So I'll listen to them when people are saying that, and people are watching our stuff. Again, Kurt Metzger, the comedian who was on Joe Rogan, he's watching Phantom Menace stuff. He was pretty well versed in Zach videos. He couldn't remember the name of the channel, but as far as what he was talking about, as far as the message, he was listening. He follows me on Twitter and a bunch of others too. I reached out to him a little bit. I said, "You're awesome." I told him he was my favorite comedian now. Who knows? Maybe we'll get him on the show. That'd be pretty cool. Anyone looking for lockdown binge fodder should check out the old Darren McGavin Kolchak the Night Stalker series. Hell yeah, Ike in 1906. Hell yeah. Absolutely. I endorse that. Electric Maid for $5. Big howdy to Nerdrotic. A big howdy back to you, Electric Nerdrotic. Did I say Electric Nerdrotic? Electric Maid. Sorry. Viperia69 for £5. Current Doctor Who is worse than the last series season of Old Who in the 90s and the TV movie combined. Oh my God, yes. 90% of BBC shows have been trash for decades. They've been trash for the last few years. I don't know about decades, but I enjoy I enjoy all the Seventh Doctor adventures. Anything compared to Jodie Whittaker's era is great. I like the Paul McGann movie. I mean, you know, the production value was low, but I love the TARDIS in that. Oh, it's perfect. Jeff Pfeiffer for $5. The canon of Doctor Who and others is part of the enjoyment and mystique of these shows. Their history is the foundation of their longevity. You have no longevity without canon. See how long Kurtzman Trek lasts. See how long Chibnall Doctor Who lasts. In one video I was watching, they're all, time will tell. Oh, it will. Time will tell. Oh, so I like how you have that in there too. So Zelena, pronounced Zelena, is a member at the Jaloja level. Hail, thank you very much. Welcome to the membership. I appreciate that. Fizenthorpe for $10. Gary will soon get emotional during a stream from his beautiful painted lady house across from Alamo Square Park. Postcard row tears, LOL. Right. I will get emotional. I will. Fizenthorpe, it's good to see you. Thank you. Mr. Beak, did you ever meet Doomcock in real life? Says Ask Peppermint Oil Capsule for £2. Not yet. We plan to once, we were going to do the Noir Festival here in San Francisco in February, and we still might next February at the Castro. And if not, Star Wars Celebration, whenever that's back on, we're supposed to do a huge Phantom Menace meetup, and it got delayed, obviously. So if that does get rescheduled or we have to wait till next year, then we'll do the meetup there. Ethan's doing a con as well. I don't know if he's going to go, but yeah, I'll meet him eventually. King Koopa for $5 Canadian. Hey guys, just to know, did Gary read my super chat that I was, Gary did. Okay. Hey guys, just to know, did Gary read my super chat? I had to go because I was blocked on Facebook because I posted something Trump. So I deleted my account. So you posted something on Facebook about Trump and they deleted your account? But I did read your last super chat. I'll read it again. Sorry. There was, I don't know if there was broken English there or what, but his last super chat was, nice stream last night with Doomcock. Thanks guys. And you're welcome. So I'm going back down here. And so if you're posting about the Orange Man on Facebook, they're deleting your post. Not, I believe it. So you got blocked on Facebook. That sucks. Keaton Smith, by who? Keaton Smith for £2. Rogan should have EVS and Zach on the podcast. He asked Zach at one time, and Zach, I think some wires got crossed. I think he should. Modalicious for $2. I think they would be great. Bruh. All the woke remakes are killing me. They are. Oh, wow. No way. That's cool as hell. I'll show that in a second. Thank you, Mrs. Nerdrotic. They are killing me as well, and I'm not going to watch them anymore. I'll tell you news about them, but I'm not going to watch them anymore. Sarah B. for $5. Hail, Gary. How did I survive 50 years before now with story crafters telling well-written epic tales with engaging protagonists and challenging antagonists? I don't know how you survived, Sarah. I don't know how I survived. Thank God we have these writers, these Paul Cornells out there to teach us plebs how to think, to enlighten us to things like racism. According to Paul Cornell, Doctor Who needs to tell people racism is bad. It's not there to entertain. Where they can certainly put a message into a good story, something like that, because I think we can all agree that racism is bad. Problem is, the people like Paul Cornell think that the 35 to 40% of the people who, voted for Brexit or for the Orange Man are ists, are phobes, when they're not. King Koopa for $2 Canadian. I just want to ha 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 ha. You just want to laugh? That's all we can do. That's what most of the time I get it. I laugh. When I saw Snowflake in Safe Space for the first time, I laughed. And then the reality set in what it really was, and it pissed me off. Han and Chewie in an abusive relationship. Chewie kept going back to him even after inner rim counseling. The Wookiee cringed when told to get into the cockpit. TC Mandalorian for £5. TC the Mandalorian doesn't hold back. In inner rim counseling. What the hell? The Talons of Wang Chang. I'm surprised you can even use that name as an account anymore for £1.99. I will never be canceled. Come at me, BBC. That's right. Sean Connery versus Applesauce, aka Blue Dragon Balls, for 20 Danish, Norwegian, or Norwegian krona. Why did I say Danish? Woke is over. Hollywood will get it in 5 years. Yes. See okay. To explain again, people, something can be over before things are produced. Trends and like disco died and they still made movies about disco for a couple years. But disco died before that. So let me be very clear. I did not say woke Hollywood will not make woke Hollywood movies anymore. Get the distinction. Woke is over. Corporate woke is over. They haven't gotten the memo yet. Light Bearer for $4.99. We all, God, you guys. We all are our own artists and should express ourselves and practice multiple arts so you will never be robbed of the magic that is art and music. Light Bearer, you're right. You're right. Make your own stuff, create your own stuff. Part of the do-it-yourself generation, Generation X, is we felt like we wanted more, but we didn't have access to it. And with the gatekeepers in the music industry, all we had was underground music. And that's when underground comics started. There's a correlation there. So the very excessive 80s, a lot of people call it the excessive 80s, which it was just a good economy, spawned a lot of corporatism in comic books and in music and in movies. And that we got independent movements out of all of it. And it was happening earlier in music. We weren't getting like independent or anything edgy on TV, not until I would say the 90s, late 80s, early 90s. That's when they started getting a little more sophisticated with television. In the 90s, we got some great independent movies. And in the 80s and 90s, we got brilliant independent comics, like some of the best ever. So that's what comes out of this. It goes in cycles, and then it'll come back. Like woke will come back in it'll be a new, interesting brand of woke. Mac Way, thank you for the $1.50. I appreciate it. Dense Menson for $9.99. I accept the death of Star Wars, Star Trek, and Doctor Who because it meant the birth of the fandom menace, which I have enjoyed much more than all of those combined. Hail! Dense, thank you. Dense Menson. I can say it right. Yes. The interaction I've had with my friends within the Fandom Menace has been far more entertaining than anything produced by Lucasfilm. Yes, even more entertaining than The Mandalorian. Anything produced by the BBC and anything produced by CBS for sure. Internet gas leak for $2. Good TV, Life on Mars. Texas Rising. Life on Mars is great TV. I own it. Let me double check to make sure nothing. Thassio for $4.99. It's not just entertainment. The SJW's infiltrated all types of media, news, commercials, Gillette, Braun, cars, movies, TV, comics. It's all agenda. It is. Was there a vast conspiracy? I would have to see more evidence to see if it was like some, shadowy deep state stuff. It could be. I mean, listen, we know the CIA is in the news media. We know the CIA works at Hollywood. So maybe I'm definitely open to it, but I think primarily it's like-minded people. If the BBC went bust, they would still call it a win as long as the toxic fans did not get their show back. Yep. Nerdy Nazgul, you are 1,000% correct. And it's all about winning. And King Koopa drops a turd for 99 cents. I will take that in honor of San Francisco because, quite frankly, there's not been enough turd on the streets. What's London Breed going to do? Cornell is the type that would turn Anne Frank in. Jeremy for $2. He is. That's harsh, but he is. Scott Rainford, welcome to the Geloja level. Just wanted to say I love your channel for $2 from Brian Spittler. Thank you, Brian Spittler. G. Mardich for $5. I'm happy that Stargate has had a hard time to get a new one off the ground, so they can't go woke. People have to watch Stargate Season 1 and Atlantis. A lot of people have recommended that, and a lot of people love it. Didn't they try to get something off the ground recently? Am I wrong on that? Did they? I thought I heard something like that. Do you think Cornell's soured future watch-alongs? Says Cardwitch for £1.99. Very much so. He is riled up. R.I.P. Doctor Who. They're pissed. And they will be there. I will be there for the next one. And we will watch them. And maybe they do it with more respect. But he did shit on what Emily Cook did. Now, I don't know what her motivations were. Maybe she was motivated by the BBC. But if she wasn't, if she just wanted to do watch-alongs with fans, then he shat all over it. Absolutely. Yes. You anger. What now? They did what to the family of blood? Asked Will Gentry for £2. Yes. Yes. They set the little girl free, and the first female doctor played by Jodie Whittaker, who we will now lovingly call Dr. Karen, let the little girl go because she was more enlightened. She thought about it, and basically all her former selves were dead wrong because they were male. Keep it up, says Ice Samurai for $5. Thank you. Karen Wars canceled. Culture Casino for $2. I'm pretty sure. If you go and look for the story, if 2 days ago, if you typed Star Wars news, that's all that came up. That's all that came up. Look what comes up now. That's what comes up now. So Clownfish TV pointed this out in their video. I've pointed this out in the past with Star Trek, especially every time Doomcock and I or Midnight's Edge would report some news. This is the information war. You would get an announcement, a casting announcement or something. Now, I believe at first I thought the announcement about female Star Wars was to counteract the news that Ichibaka was talking about with the toy sales, tanking. But it looks like that was just Lucas. And maybe that was Lucasfilm. I don't know what their motivation was, but now you get this. Now we got Clownfish TV. Look at that. Right on. We love Clownfish TV. But that's it. It's just YouTubers. And you wonder why we're stealing all their clicks. For real. Cesario JPN for $5. Those people getting mad that orcs are racist should be told Tolkien actually wrote a letter to the Nazi party telling them how awful they are. I love that. The orcs are, to even think that tells you where their brain is, and that's horrific. It's just horrific. As always, for your coffee and moving fun. Thank you, Michael Henley, for $21. I appreciate it. And yes, I'm moving the hell out of here. By the way, Sindek sent this to me. Thanks, man. That's awesome. That's great. Thank you, Sindek. He's the one who created this. Go check him out on Twitter. Follow him. Very talented fellow there. Sorry, these are out of order a little bit. All right. Mac Way, thank you for the $1.50 again. England DDG for $4.99. Has the Disney tweet been discussed yet? The Disney Plus tweet. The one where they state that anyone using May the 4th is subject to their terms of service? No, what? That's insane. Hang on. And what are they going to do? Holy, what? Hang on a second. Get the fuck out of here. All right. By sharing your message with us, hashtag May the 4th, you agree to our use of the message and your account name in all media and all terms of use here. Terms of service govern your use of the Disney services. Please read this term carefully before using any Disney service. These terms of service are a contract between you and us. License, grant, and restrictions, usage rules, paid transaction, content, sweepstakes and promotions, disclaimers, and limitation on liability, submissions, user-generated content, DMCA takedown notices, binding arbitration, and class action waiver, additional provisions. What? Hang on a second. So are they saying if you by sharing your message with using May the 4th, you agree, what? Celebrate the saga, reply with your favorite Star Wars memory, and you may see it's somewhere special on May the 4th. Oh, okay. So basically, if they share your message, you don't get paid from it. Is that what I'm getting out of this? By sharing your message with us, May the 4th, you agree to our use of the message and your account name in all media and terms of service here. Yeah, okay. So they're basically saying, if you share the message, they can put it on their website and make money off it, and you don't get any money. Whatever. I'll say something nasty, and I don't think they'll share the message. I thought they were like claiming the hashtag or something. Like, what the frack are you talking about? That's crazy. Now maybe I missed something. I don't know. Disney owns May the 4th. Be with you? Seriously? I don't know if they own it. I don't think that's what they're saying. I think they're saying that if they share your message, you can't lay claim to anything. And it's just them covering your asses, because if you share the message and your profile picture is there, you could sue them for using their profile picture unless You agree to terms of service, which is like clicking a box. So they're saying that if you share the message and your face is on that image and they share it, it's okay for them to do it. That's what I get out of it. I could be wrong. Carl's Ransom Reviews for $2. I'm not giving Hollywood any more of my money. And a lot of people are like that. And that's, I mean, again, Hollywood needs to get the message or they don't. I mean, no skin off my back. I can go review old episodes of Doctor Who or review movies I haven't talked about. And, you know, eventually the culture war will be over. Well, I won't say over. It won't run as hot as it has been lately. When that is, don't really know. They've gone through all the major franchises. The only one that's left is Lord of the Rings. And believe me, that was a shot fired right there. I know it was over D&D and stuff, but that was a shot fired at Lord of the Rings. Trust me. But, you know, this shit will end someday. Nothing lasts forever. And you tell that to Hollywood too. Nothing lasts forever. Your ticket sales were down. Independent movie ticket sales were down 30%. Box office overall in the year 2019 was down. The comics industry will try to tell you they had their best year ever, but unit sales were down. They're just charging more for the books. That's all. So they might have made more money, but they're selling less comic books than ever because people are out. Now, there's a lot of habitual buyers. There's a lot of people who agree with them. There's a lot of people who, I mean, just are working and they don't see this shit coming. But again, more and more people are becoming aware as time goes on. And listen, if this movement wasn't gaining steam, channels wouldn't be gaining steam. Critical Drinker wouldn't be getting 75,000 views in his first hour of a video if this shit wasn't gaining steam. Okay? And just, you know, for those parents out there, what are your kids paying attention to? What are your kids doing? I can tell you right now, it's pretty similar to my kids' friends and other kids I've heard. It's manga, anime, YouTube, video games. I don't hear Disney in any of that. I don't hear Star Wars in any of that. Don't hear Marvel. And Marvel lost the biggest opportunity. For one, we just saw the best of Marvel. There will not be an era even close to what we just saw with Marvel. They're not going to have the movie stars with any caliber. It's going to be, you want it though with the MC. Did you guys anybody watch Altered Carbon season 2, just the first episode? So equate it to that. The MCU was season 1 and phase 4, the MCU will be season 2. It'll be woke. It'll be average. It'll be homogenized. There'll be some decent stuff. Maybe Sam Raimi will deliver a good Doctor Strange movie. We'll get like a mediocre to good Black Widow movie. And the Eternals just sounds terrible. Terrible. But I could be wrong. And I hope I am. Blue Boy for $10. The more Kennedy claims that her moves champion feminism while putting out garbage products, the more damage she does to actual feminism. She needs to be made to understand that. Kathleen Kennedy strikes me as the kind of person who's a little prickly. You know what I mean? Not the most humble person in the world. I'm guessing she doesn't take well to bad news. So she probably doesn't hear it. So she's probably sounded by a bunch of yes women. That's my guess. Thank you for the super chat, Blue Boy, for $10. Thank you for the super chat, England DDG for $4.99. And thank you for Carl's Ransom Reviews. Hail, brother. Thank you for the $2. Michael Henley, thank you for the $21. Cesario JPN, thank you for the super chat. Cultural Casino. I'm getting caught up here. Make sure it doesn't. I just got to keep going back and forth. Makes me crazy, but that's the way you have to do it so you don't miss any. Sorry for the silences. What's that? Here we go. Again, Scott Rainford, welcome to the Geloja level. Thank you, my friend. And thank you, Jer Hermy, for the $2, and King Koopa, and Nerdy Nazgul. Thassio, thank you again. Jim La Corta for $10. This is to get Mrs. Nerdrotic a Pete's coffee too. Oh, thanks, man. I will make sure that goes to her. Well, you know what? Listen, half goes to Mrs. Nerdrotic. California state law. Half. So this is a co-production of Mrs. Nerdrotic as well. She does a lot of work. By the way, give a follow on Instagram, instagram.com/Nerdrotic. If you follow us and you post on the Sunday Swag comment, it can enter you to win swag, like t-shirts and caps and stuff like that. So follow me on Instagram.com/Nerdrotic. Thank you. Larry for $1.49. Thank you. Michael Henley for $33 for Mrs. Nerdrotic and the Pupster. You have a great home. Thanks. Little Gomez. I like Little Gomez. He's a pain in the ass, but he's a good dog. He never sits still. He's the old man now. He's like 10 now. Hard Light Artwork for £5. I would like to suggest that everything after Amy and Rory were the Flesh Doctor or Ganger Doctor. You would like to suggest that everything after that is just done. I don't know. I kind of like those episodes. I did. But they left things open to interpretation a little bit. Noel Morrison for $5. Thank you very much. Thank you. Son of a Wolf for $5. Hail, Gary. I want to thank you for streaming so often. I've been out of work for over a month, and you're helping keep me from losing it. So thank you. Thank you so much. That's what was my motivation behind streaming almost daily. Did I stream every day? I have streamed every day, but I've been on other people's channels. I did a Saturday stream. I did a Sunday stream. I'm going to do one tomorrow. By the way, I'll be on Az's channel tomorrow morning. Heel versus Babyface. And we're going to be boarding and bagging comics. So I need to rebag and board these. Those are magazine size though. And my Defenders. So that's what I'll be doing. And thank you again, Noel Morrison, for the $5. I really appreciate it. He didn't say anything there. Fun Guy 31 for £2. Gomez made my night. May he live long. Pete's rules. That's cool. Yeah, we'll make more dog appearances. Yes, that was Gomez. I have another dog named Maris and another one named Parker. Gomez is cute. Destiny Captain for $19.99. Gary, the Promicin of Promycin. I have no idea what that is. Sorry, Destiny Captain. Question was a reference to the mid-2000s series, The 4400. Oh, well, I didn't watch it. There you go. It was a drug synthesized from the people that had abilities. It was released into the general public in the final season. Yes. Well, Mrs. Nerdrotic watched that show. The mid-2000s, I was not watching a ton of television because I was selling comic books. I was slinging comic books. I should watch that one, though. I heard it was good. I heard it was really good. Thank you, Destiny Captain, for $19.99. 13th Warrior for $5. I don't blame Capaldi. He became a sidekick to Clara, the impossible girl. I stopped watching because of her. She makes a good queen, though. There you go. Thundercat, yeah, you're right. For $5. Thank you. She's good in anything else. Thundercats Ho for £2. Canon is the anchor to our long-term passion. Exactly. Paul understands that. He's just being disingenuous and an asshole. Brett Tesdale for $50. Holy shit. Thank you. Gary, I agree with you that the talons of Wang Cheng will likely disappear under mysterious circumstances, investigated by the BBC for woke points. However, BBC, remember this. I own the DVD, and you can have it, and you can't pry it from my cold you can have it when you can pry it from my cold dead hands. Agreed, Brett. I have it as well. Cardinal Sin is a member at the proto-molecule level. Hail, Cardinal Sin. Thank you. King Koopa. It's good to see you, Cardinal Sin. King Koopa for a Canadian $5. I'm bilingual. I'm bilingual. I'm not. I'm not even single-lingual. I'm bilingual. Just too much weed. And I have ADHD. Sorry, it's all good. And the restrictions of the super chat tricked me. Thanks, dude. No, thank you, man. Thank you. That's great. The Merosphere Origins for $5. Hail, Gary. You get the email about the book I am writing. When I finished, I am sending you a signed, reviewed copy. I will check. I have not seen it. No, but I will check today. Thank you. And I appreciate that. I look forward to it. You know what? In my retirement, I'm going to have a lot of books to read. And that's good. That's good because I'm not going to want to watch any television. Gary, why are you such a... Oh, God. Gary, why are you such an eloquent wordsmith in your standalone videos, but you struggle to read super chats? Need some new specs? SJ Shady 0169 for $5. I struggle to read the super chats because I don't want to read some of the broken English in them. So that's the case. And yeah, I probably do need some new specs for sure. Some days are better than others, but I'm trying. Modalicious for $2. I have like this horrific reading problem. That's why I had to learn reading comic books. It's the ADHD, so my eyes go faster than what I'm reading. So I'm reading it too fast before it sets into my brain. That's something I've always had. No, but yeah, I'm also reading a lot of broken English, and I'm trying not to make, listen, I understand I am the worst when it comes to messaging and stuff. And a lot of it's, I'm trying to figure out what words to place in, like for example, Modalicious wrote something fine. Modalicious writes for $2. Hollywood has experienced the ending of McClintock. But what if Modalicious was in a hurry and he was driving and he wrote Hollywood and he left out is experience the end. I've got to fill in words, so sometimes it takes me a little longer. Jer Hermy for $5. Gary, did you see the guy who found the missing Doctor Who episodes is using RIP Doctor Who? He's getting slagged on Twitter. No. Who is it? Give me his account. Just pop it in the chat. I did not see that, but I don't spend much time on Twitter. Vanessa Lore for $5. Please check out Young Rapper. Please check out the Young Rapper, Tom McDonald on YouTube. He is speaking out against woke, and his video, Politically Incorrect, has over 10 million views. I will most definitely check it out. Hang on. Tom McDonald. Boom, 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 boom. Oh, I've seen this guy. Yeah. Tom McDonald. Wow. He's got tattoos on his face. I mean, this is where I'm old. I will check it out though. No, I've seen him a little bit. Really? Wow. Just wow. I'm so effing done now. Urgh! And he's angry. Will Gentry for £2. Yeah. When I saw that, I was pissed. It didn't sink in, Will. I heard something happen Friday, and Friday Night Tights was just about to start. So I asked I'm all, did you see what happened? He's all, no, I just know something happened. I'm all, we'll check it out afterwards. Then I forgot about it on Saturday. Then Sunday, I went to Twitter and looked at all my messages, and I saw Starry Eye Girl had been letting me know. And it's like, oh shit. It's what happens when you take a break. You miss it all. Stone Dog 1971 for $5. The sequel to the sequel of Family of Blood. Jodie, who frees the little girl in a show of virtue signaling. The little girl then kills Jodie Who. That would have been funny if her balloon ate her face. D. Matthews for $10. I don't understand how it got this far. How did woke take over everything? You would think people wouldn't see what a bad idea it was and tried to stop it, especially when they started losing money. D. Matthews, I think they were protected by, the streaming wars protected them. They were protected by investors. So you're looking at the whole pot, right? but they were starting to notice with individual movies. So with Doctor Who, with Star Trek Picard, with Star Trek Discovery, a lot of shit can be hidden because those are just pieces of the pie. Those are just cogs in the machine of streaming. So they don't have to individually, because they're not bringing in any ad money. Okay, so they're just they need to bring in subscribers. So their profitability is looked at differently. The streaming service, you just need to have content. With an individual movie, you have producers, investors, you need to pay out, and there's real data with that. That's where it was starting to hurt them. That's where things were changing. When will they realize it? I think they do. I think a lot of them do. But they think the audience is wrong. They still think so they realize that what the audience is mad about. They realize they're being partisan. They're just going to dig in. They're going to dig their heels in. Do what most people do. You know, they get defensive. They're going to dig their heels in. Instead of just going, whoa, 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 whoa. It's going to take something catastrophic and, oh, that's happening. So don't get discouraged when you're hearing announcements. This is all stuff that was made last year, 2 years ago. Loquacious Primate for $5. Hey, Gary. Just letting you know the email I sent from is loquaciousprimate@gmail.com. Should be easy to search and reply with CC from Mrs. Nerdrotic. Okay. I will let you know. I tried that before and it didn't work. So thanks. Lens Quest. Thank you for the $1.49 and the phallic unicorn. I appreciate it. Zach Boyles. My love is with shops, but won't go there. My love is with shops, but won't they go the way of the music stores? Okay, I'm trying to read emoji here. My love is with the shops, but won't they go the way of the music stores and the video stores? I'm selfish and need Wednesday, especially now. The fan base could grow too. Would you be against new comics being released again? Thank you, sir. No. I think they probably need to get away from the Wednesday model. I think it's very 20th century. I think they need to drastically change everything. I think they need to make the shops a little more competitive against each other. And I think we need more than one distributor. So there will be competition. So we will get innovation. Keeping everything direct market where all the comic shops are on the same, I don't think you should do that anymore. And you just got to sack up. I think it led to a lot of mediocrity and complacency with comic shops within that industry. One distributor, everybody got stuff the same day. Screw that. So now with this new distributor, they're getting stuff early. I don't know if there's still an on sale date. I'd be done with that stuff. It's too restrictive on business, and it doesn't allow, again, innovation. And if the comic shops, if they want to be their own little islands now, then good. Let them be that way and have them compete. Actually compete. There's no such thing as fair. Brian Hibbs has been preaching fairness forever. He doesn't give a shit about fairness. He cares about what happens with his stores, and that's it. And the only time he talks about other people's stores, it's when it's directly related to his, when it directly benefits him. That's something I found out a long time ago about him. For the longest time in San Francisco, Brian Hibbs worked out a drop ship. So he had a drop ship, and all the shops met at Brian Hibbs' shop, and that's where we would pick up our books. So I would drive to his store across town, and we all pitched in and got a truck. So this truck would come into San Francisco, drop ship at Brian's shop, and then all the shops would meet to pick up our product from Brian. And at first, I was a naive little fool. I thought he was doing something nice for us. It's like, look at Brian. We worked out this drop ship, and we're all picking up books at his store. And for one, he decided he was the centralized location, which is fine. I don't care. But then I started thinking about it. He gets to look at my inventory every day. He gets to see how much I'm getting through. Oh, some boxes accidentally get opened. Now, there was never missing any comics, and he never did anything like that. But he got to keep an eye on his competition. And then I heard, well, why don't I just get why am I not just having UPS drop the books directly off of my store on the night before? Why am I driving across town? And I was told I was saving a bunch of money. And I wasn't. I was actually paying more for the drop ship. So after I started asking questions, and a couple things happened to make me suspicious, it's business. It's business. And you learn shit. Not a banned account for $1.99. Will Michael Burnham cameo in Picard Season 2? Will Michael Burnham cameo? Probably. Peter Ford for $4.99. And thank you, by the way, not a banned account for $1.99. I appreciate that. Zach Boyles. Thank you again for the $10. Peter Ford for $4.99. I teach 13-year-olds, MCU, Star Wars, etc. are indeed the least on their minds. Hell, I'd rather watch you play a video game. And that's bad, Peter. That's bad. And read versus their shit. Yes. So there you have it right there. Straight from a teacher. Thank you. Hail, brother. The Grand Inquisitor for $5. Hail, Gary. FYI, YouTube is ghosting this stream. I figured it would. It's not on my recommendations. Checking right now. Yep, it's gone. It's still there. It's just not in your recommendations anymore. So there's two forms of ghosting. And did you guys get notifications, by the way? Can you do me a solid right now? Put 1 for yes if you got a notification, 2 if you didn't. Thank you very much. And I'll read some super chats. Thank you, the Grand Inquisitor. You are right. It's off the recommendations thing. It's not in my recommendations. Had to find it in my subs. Screw Disney Star Wars. Long live the Phantom Menace. Hail! Hail! Hail, Monsignor Gary. Another day, another stream. Cardinal Sin, hail to you, brother, for $2. Jeff Stout for $5. New to your channel after seeing you on Young Ripa. Oh, cool as hell. I got to get him back on. Maybe we'll get him on for Friday Night Tights. Paul Cornell gave Grodd a freaking war spoon in action number 893. He's a hack. You're right. He's a hack. So what do we got? A lot of you got the notification. Good. That's good. But there's a lot of you who did not. That's bad. Now it's looking like about half. What's 7? There's always some asshole. I'm just kidding. You're not an asshole. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, look at you guys. You're killing it. Thank you. Paul Cornell is a hack. He's an absolute hack comic book writer. You're absolutely right. The Titan Doctor Who comics, I can barely read them. All right. The ones he did. Gary, do we need a new Spaceballs for a woke era? Asks Alien Matters for $2.85. Yes. We need a Blazing Saddles for the woke era. And that's when we know the tide is officially turned. There is a comedy waiting to be made. Am I wrong about this, folks? Making fun of all this shit. And it would be, oh my God, it would make so much money. Just when Verge, I think it was Verge, came out against David Chappelle's Sticks and Stones. That was the best thing that could have ever happened to him. So we need a movie that gets soundly condemned. Oh, wait, we did. The Joker. So we need a comedy that gets soundly condemned by The Verge and Huffington Post, and that will change shit. Yes. Permanently? No. But we need some victories here, folks. Really don't have anything to say, but here's a few bucks just because. Thank you, Dean Heiss. I appreciate it. And hail the Orville for $5. Boyman for $5. Hail, Gary. Cornell's episodes will be known as The Fam of Blood and Human Nurture. Hashtag RIP Doctor Who. Hashtag no doctor of mine. That's right. Robin Huckleberry for $2. My writing the English. She is the goodest. Hail. Yes. Electric Gam for £2. Love your stuff. Breaks up the monotony of nonstop working. I'm glad you're working, and I'm glad I'm helping break the monotony. Thank you for the £2. Kurt for $19.99. Nothing to say, but he just donates. Thank you very much. Hail. Sam Goodpastor is a member at the proto-molecule level. Hail. Thank you, Sam Goodpastor. Are you a good pastor? I hope so. It's your last name. Will Gentry for £10. Gary, Doctor Who is now like worse. Doctor Who is the worst. Doctor Who is now like worst of sex. She broke my heart. When she ended it at the end of season 12, but then she enraged me when I found out she's been cheating all along, messing with the family of blood. And that is tantamount to cheating. You're absolutely right. That is like finding out that your partner cheated with one of your siblings. Jer Hermy for $2. Twitter.com archives 1963 and scroll down. Thank you, my friend. Give me just a second here. 1963. Archives? It's archives. Archives 1963. Here we go. Hey, follows me. What's up, Philip? How far do I need to scroll down? Give me you don't have to super chat, Jeremy. Give me the date. Give me the date. I can't have this much. Patrick Burke for $10. Hail, Nerdrotic. Thankful for all the content. Been loving it. Hey, thank you. I've been having a good time. Patrick Burke, welcome to the Geloja level. I appreciate it. Marcus Cato. Marcus. Marcus. You know I'm a cautious fellow. For $1.99. Preach, Gary. The truth will not be redacted. The truth will not be redacted. Funny. And Viperus 69. And it's cut off here at the bottom. So I'm trying to pull this. Oh, Jesus Christ. Hate it when that happens. I've never noticed YouTube's ghosting because I've been sidestepping YouTube's homepage for roughly 3 years by just having my subscriptions page bookmarked. LOL. That's the best thing to do. That is the best thing I can recommend is bypass the YouTube homepage completely and bookmark your subscriptions. And that way you can keep track because I'm not getting every notification now. And a lot of people aren't. So I appreciate everyone sharing and liking the videos and subscribing to the channel. Believe me, you have helped with the tremendous growth. We just passed 236,000 subscribers. We just passed 23,000 subscribers on Nerdrotic Live. You guys are loving the Nerdrotic Live. It's been growing like crazy. So thank you. And I will keep it up. Hail, Gary. I don't know if you're into sports or not. Have you seen the Chicago Bulls documentary on Netflix? 4 episodes in, and I find it really entertaining. I'm a fan of Michael Jordan's Bulls for sure. Absolutely. Thank you. Joe, you didn't have to put in a super chat, Jeremy. You just could have put it in the chat. Thank you. April 27th. Here, I'll get up there. Since you donated 3 times, I'm going to find it. So give me a moment. That's 12 hours ago. Oh, yeah. Is this what we're talking about here? Hey, he retweeted me too. That's cool. Dun, dun, dun. Ah, son of a bitch. There we go. So he retweeted Bull's Trek. Ah, crap. Sorry. And it looks like, yeah, he's retweeting Starry Eye Girl. I want a TV show like myself and many love to be returned to the conscience of the general public, not decline and be hijacked by a movement that tries to claim misogyny, racism at anybody that dares to criticize them. Hell yeah. Pure egotism and gatekeeping by Paul Cornell. In a time we live in, all of a fandom should have been welcome to enjoy the excellent human nature family of blood. Instead, Paul hates you because you don't like the distraction or the destruction of Doctor Who under Chibnall's reign of terror. Unbelievable. Then there's my man's video. Hey, I'm in that video. And then there's Starry. In their eyes, they've done nothing wrong, you see. It's everyone else. They're wrong. How the mighty have fallen. I wish I could stop caring. I can't wait for apathy to set in. That'll be easier. Yes, they're missing the point. As it happens, people have stopped watching, hence why the ratings have fallen off a cliff. Their racism and misandry and ignorance is staggering. Verite Lambert, for starters. I dislike the current regime, so I must have white privilege too. But then I'm young and female. They're supposed to target, I'm their target audience. Oh golly, which label to give to me? Which box to put on me? Well, you are obviously practicing internalized misogyny, Starry-Eyed Girl. They have a term for you because they have a term for everyone. That pisses. See, I was chilling. I was chilling throughout the stream. I was getting better. Now I'm ready to get back on my video, which will be out tomorrow, 11 a.m. We're going to say 11-ish a.m. I have a lot of video to cut in. You know, yeah, I don't know when that started, but I have a lot of sound clips. I have a lot of, it's from a podcast from Radio Times. I'll share it with you guys. Hang on. Or here, yeah, it'll be easy to find. It'll be easier for me to share it with you. Give me just a moment. Here it is. So I'm putting the link in the in the chat. There you go. You can watch that when I'm done here. It's got 1,500 views. It came out on April 15th. It's got 28 likes, 21 dislikes. Radio Times has 58,000 subscribers. That's pathetic. And I wonder why. Doctor Who, does the Timeless Children break canon? Why are we even asking this question? Yes, but there's some statements in there that I'll be piecing out. So, along with some other stuff, I hope you enjoy it. There'll be lots of fun little audio clips in there. All right, let's get back to the super chats here. Cardwitch for £1.99. I really hope the future Doctor Who writer retcons Chibs. Cardwitch, I do too. I know there are many of you out there who don't want to be in a fight. I understand that. As a matter of fact, that's the majority. The majority of fans don't want there to be a fight. There has to be some common ground somewhere. But we are in a very polarized society right now. And quite frankly, one side is being way more hard-headed and fundamentalist than the other. Now, sometimes that pendulum switches because most of us, the vast majority of us, are in the middle. And we just lean. That's it. We lean. And this is it's not an overcorrection because they didn't need to correct anything. They just got arrogant. And they thought they could afford to lose a couple fans because they thought they would gain so many new fans because there's data out there that there's this vast young female audience that's willing to get into genre, that there's, you know what? Hollywood discovered that girls can be nerds too, and they buy shit. The problem is they don't understand the female nerd or the male nerd. They don't understand we liked what was going on anyway. You didn't need to go so hard in politically. There was political stuff anyway. Every movement, every medium has gone through this, by the way. What doesn't get talked about a lot, you guys, I'm sure most of you are aware because you're smart, of the sad puppies movement in science fiction books, which was SJW Marvel, which was Gamergate, which was the Fandom Menace. Same damn thing happened, except that one was, it was over before it began. And one of the biggest proponents of it was George R.R. Martin. And I think it led to the delay of his book. So this shit has been going on, and most people don't want to fight. They just want to enjoy their entertainment. And unfortunately, it is become a way in for a lot of people who are not talented. I found a Pete's near me in Reston, Virginia. No shit, really? What should I get there? Never been. Comrade Care Bear for £5. Large dark roast, black. Large dark roast, black. Fully caffeinated. It is like cocaine. Hail Nerdrotic. Make movies great again? I don't know if we can. That is the guy that traveled the world to rescue classic Who episodes. So did you hear that again? That's the guy who traveled the world to rescue classic Who episodes. And now they're calling him names saying you've fallen. Disgusting. Jer Hermy, I'm going to give you proper credit in my video that is going in my video. So your super chats and that portion will be going in my Doctor Who video. Thank you. I'll be sending people your way on Twitter. Proper shout out. Thank you for bringing that to my attention. I know I'm tough, but love you, man. Conservative sci-fi fan for $2. Hail Nerdrotic. Make movies great again if you make them. If you're a conservative sci-fi fan, start writing your own damn books. Because the sad puppy movement just ran all of you out. They straight up just ostracized you. And George R.R. Martin was behind it. Big proponent of it. Now, were things done perfectly? I'm somewhat educated. I'm more educated about the sad puppy thing than I am about Gamergate. So I know bad actors kind of glommed on to movements on all sides. I know there was some very bad actors in Comicsgate. They're still on YouTube, quite frankly. And I know there was there's bad actors everywhere. It doesn't besmirch the movement. Any consumer movement at its core is still a consumer movement, but they run out of gas or they change. But it doesn't mean Comicsgate, for example, is turned into a network. And I think I would say that's a proper terminology for it. And it's worked out for them. It's evolved. I don't know what happens to the Phantom Menace, but the Phantom Menace got fired up last week, and RIP Doctor Who got fired up on the same day. It was like, oh crap. So I'm a little behind. That's why I got to catch up. Thank you very much, Jer Hermy. If I missed any, I'm going to go up real quick. And the Brown guy for $6.99 Canadian. Hail, Gary. I know you. Oh, I read that one, but thank you, the Brown guy. Maybe I didn't say your name though. Marcus Cato, thank you again. I'm just going to make sure I didn't miss any super chats. I got to get on my video. I have 2 to make. I'm going to do a kind of a Star Wars one. It's Star Wars one, but it's got some other stuff in there. And a Doctor Who video. Let my voice rest for about an hour. And remember, the Super Chat Square Up for Friday Night Tights will be up tomorrow between 10 and 11 on Nerdrotic Live. I just recorded it and gave everything its proper time. So thank you, everyone, for being patient with that. This Friday, I'm going to go till the end. I'll probably start dismissing the guests after like 4 hours, and then I'll take over the show from there, and whoever wants to stay can stay. But just to make sure we complete it in the show. I don't want to make a habit out of that. So thank you for being patient with that. I really appreciate that, because that's not something I like doing at all. And part of the Super Chat Square Up, I missed like 6 on the Nooners because of the jumping thing. Those are included. I went back over 2 weeks and picked out. I'll probably repeat some stuff, but better safe than sorry. Hopefully, regionally, responsibly, some of us are getting back to work real soon. I'll end you with this. I'm sorry I didn't talk about comic book stuff too much, but I'll talk about that in the next live stream. I'll go over Marvel has furloughed some employees. A good friend of mine who's a shop owner will be permanently shutting down. And he told me he's permanently shutting down because of the future, because of what's coming out. It's not right now. He could actually stay in business if he wanted to. I made a very similar decision under very different circumstances. When I was all coked out and everything, I could have stayed in business and probably kept it going. But for what? And I decided to sell and get the hell out, and it saved my life. But this poor guy has been in business for decades, and he's going to shut it down because he sees what's coming down the road, and it's the snowflake and safe space. So yeah, you can actually attribute that to closing a shop. And once I can give his name, I will. But you can say that Snowflake and Safe Space caused a shop to close. Now, I'm not going to say it's solely responsible, but it's the symbolism of it that was just fracking discouraging to a lot of shop owners. A lot of them didn't care either, but, depends on the individual. And there'll be more comic book talk coming around as well. And I want to congratulate one more time Gotham City Comics. Thank you for entering. I hope it helps you pay a couple bills. I do want to help. I do try to help. And you guys help me by allowing me to speak my mind and supporting me on the channel. So I thank you for that. I am grateful. Agent Zero for $5. If canon doesn't matter, why are they infiltrating established franchise to spread their message? Exactly. If nothing matters, then why change it to a female doctor if it doesn't matter? Because that's the argument. It shouldn't matter to you. Why does it matter that you want the doctor to be male? Well, if it doesn't matter, then keep them male. Because it fucking matters. And you know the answer, and that's a good point. That's a very good point. Let it burn, Mother Braun says for $2. Maybe. The comic book industry, when it comes back, it will be a shadow of its former self, and it'll be completely different. And a lot of shops are going to close up over the next 6 months, and it's going to be very, very sad. So I'm pissed off about that. So I'm going to get to my video. Thank you again, everyone. Please like, share, and subscribe. Please follow me on Instagram and enter Swag Sunday. I will see you again tomorrow. My next live stream, I will be on Az's channel tomorrow morning, bagging and boarding. There will be 2 videos coming out in the next 48 hours. I thank you again for the support. Please go to nerdrotic.com. That is the place to go if I disappear from platforms. I doubt it will, but if I do, nerdrotic.com is where I back everything up, and that's where you can listen to podcasts and all the fun stuff. Until next time, not all who wander are lost, and may the wings of liberty never lose a feather, and hopefully we are back to work safely and soon. Ciao, Bella.